Chapter 889. Inside the inn, a large group of Black Blood Gang assassins arrived. Chu Kuangren remained calm as he looked at the assassins in front of him like they were nothing. With a lift of his arm, Emperor's chi gushed out and blasted the assassins into a mist of blood. The entire inn was shrouded in the stench of blood. Suddenly, Chu Kuangren stopped. A figure appeared out of thin air. It was a hunchbacked old man with a purple mask hanging on his waist. Purple-masked assassins. Li Xuan could not help but exclaim. In the Black Blood Gang, the golden-masked assassins were already the top assassins, and above them were the 4 purple-masked assassins. All 4 of them were the Skydao Masters. They were the strongest trump cards other than the Black Blood Gang's leader. Hehe, Chu Kuangren, do you feel a tightness in your chest and that the Emperor's chi isn't circulating smoothly? Don't worry. In a little while, your meridians, bones, and flesh will feel like they're being bitten by thousands of insects. In the end, your body will be riddled with holes and rot into a hornet's nest. The purple-masked old man chuckled. Li Xuan felt a chill down her spine. He's the Path of Absolute Poison Master, one of the 4 purple-masked assassins. He specializes in killing with poison and once destroyed a living star with it. Chu Kuangren, how are you feeling? She was in despair. It was not easy for her to find a helper. Was he going to die just like that? However, compared to the flustered Li Xuan, Chu Kuangren was calm. He said, "Do you think your poison can kill me? Hey, you're still so stubborn even in the face of death. When did you poison me?" Li Xuan asked unwillingly. Of course I did it." A man dressed like a waiter walked out. He was the waiter who served Chu Kuangren the wine just now. He was also an assassin from the Black Blood Gang. It was that wine. Li Xuan regained her senses and her expression changed. Something was not right. She wanted to drink it just now. However, Chu Kuangren stopped her. Could it be? Li Xuan thought of something and looked at Chu Kuangren. All she saw was him chuckling and unleashing a palm attack. A burst of alcohol gushed out and landed on the assassins. The waiter was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. He screamed and fell to the ground. His body quickly rotted and turned into a pile of rotten meat. "You're not poisoned." Absolute Poison Sect Master's face darkened. "Your poison is too low-end. It's not good enough," Chu Kuangren said calmly. He had the Starlight Immortal physique, which made him extremely resistant to poison. On top of that, he also had a Supreme Taoist physique related to poison, the Pestilence Evil physique. Poison him? It was child's play. If he wanted to, he could become a poison grandmaster at any time. Ultimate Poison Hand. The Path of Absolute Poison Taoist raised his arm and charged towards Chu Kuangren. He unleashed a palm attack that blended dark purple poison chi with the Emperor's chi. Upon seeing that, Chu Kuangren did not dodge or retreat. Instead, he took the attack head-on. Seeing that, the Path of Absolute Poison's face lit up. "Fool, there is no one in this world who can survive my poisonous palm strike, not even the Heaven Law Master." "Then your world is really small," Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Chu Kuangren then activated his Pestilence Evil physique and absorbed all the poison chi from the Path of Absolute Poison Taoist's body into his body. It then merged with the Pestilence Evil physique's unique poison chi and turned into an even more terrifying poison chi. Chu Kuangren reached out his hand and the poison chi landed on the Path of Absolute Poison Taoist's face. It flowed into his body through his orifices and pores. "No, this is impossible. How can there be such a poison chi?" The Path of Absolute Poison Taoist's expression changed drastically. He tried to suppress the poison chi that was rampaging within his body, but he realized that his poison techniques could not suppress it. Chu Kuangren's poison techniques were even more terrifying than his own. Not long after, the Path of Absolute Poison Taoist's face turned green, his lips turned purple, and his aura became extremely weak. Run. Without any hesitation, the Path of Absolute Poison Taoist fled into the distance. With his best technique being countered, he was no match for Chu Kuangren. However, there was no way he could escape from Chu Kuangren. A ball of phoenix fire burst out from his back. Not long after, his entire body was burned to ashes. The Heaven Law Master had fallen. Li Xuan was dumbfounded. That was not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry. That was the Heaven Law Master. There were not many Heaven Law Masters in the entire Sirius Star. No, even in the entire Purple Gold Galaxy, the Heaven Law Masters were the pinnacle existences. Yet Chu Kuangren had easily killed one of them. Was this the true strength of the Poetic Sword Sage? It was much more terrifying than the rumors made it out to be. "What realm are you in now?" Li Xuan stared straight into Chu Kuangren's eyes and asked. "Tao Master." Chu Kuangren answered honestly. With a lift of his arm, he gathered his spiritual chi and easily killed a few golden-masked assassins who were trying to escape like him. Then how did you kill the Heaven Law Master so easily? Are you talking about the path of absolute poison Taoist? He's just a third-rate cultivator. He's the weakest Heaven Law Master I've ever seen. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The path of absolute poison Taoist was an expert in using poison. Now that Chu Kuangren had countered the path of absolute poison Taoist poison technique, his combat strength was definitely the lowest among all the Heaven Law Masters. Li Xuan's mouth twitched. Even if he's the weakest Heaven Law Master, he's still a Heaven Law Master. You're a great Tao Master, yet you killed him just like that. You're just ignoring the difference in realms. Li Xuan took a deep breath to calm herself down. When she recalled all the rumors about Chu Kuangren, she felt that she, the daughter of the Li family, was nothing compared to him. However, it was undeniable that the stronger Chu Kuangren was, the more at ease she felt. After all, he was now the Li family's biggest backer. Let's go. After Chu Kuangren had taken care of all the assassins, he took out a large amount of spiritual marrows from the path of absolute poison Taoists Yin and Yang Ring and gave them to the restaurant owner. This amount of spiritual marrows was enough for him to open 10 more restaurants like this one. After that, he asked Li Xuan to bring him to the Li family's residence. They were going to gather the scattered disciples of the Li family. On the way to the Li family's residence, Li Xuan also gave Chu Kuangren the Li family's immortal technique, the 4 demonic sun archery arrow, and the Li family's forbidden technique. Sirius Star Li family. The once glorious archery family, which was also the strongest cultivator family on the Sirius Star, had now been occupied by the Black Blood Gang's assassins and transformed into a branch of the Black Blood Gang. Today was the day. An arrow pierced through the air and landed on a Black Blood Gang assassin in front of the Li family's residence, killing him instantly. That arrow alerted all the assassins who occupied the Li family's residence. Who's that? This archery technique? It's someone from the Li family. Humph, how dare they come here to die? Not far away from the Li family's residence, Chu Kuangren was slowly walking towards them. Behind him, Li Xuan was constantly drawing her bow. One after another, arrows flew out. The Black Blood Gang's assassins wanted to dodge, but they were suppressed by an invisible force. They could not move at all. That was Chu Kuangren's mind power. As the arrows flew past, the assassins' blood splattered all over the place. Soon, the Black Blood Gang's assassins who occupied the Li family's residence were all slaughtered. Li family, I'm back. Li Xuan looked at the residence in front of her and murmured. Then she looked at the Black Blood Gang's plaque on the residence and smashed it down with her palm. Chapter 890. Chu Kuangren brought Li Xuan back to the Li family, and the disciples of the Li family who were scattered all over also heard the news. Many of them rushed over. Meanwhile, in the Li family, Chu Kuangren was currently refining a weapon with his phoenix fire. He was refining a bow. After obtaining the Li family's immortal technique, he handed it over to the human soul. The earth soul went to study it and was almost done with it. Just from its name, one could tell that it was an immortal archery technique. In order to use this immortal technique, one would need a good bow. I've gotten some decent crafting materials from the Black Blood Gang's branch. Now I can use them. Besides, this immortal tendon is finally useful. Chu Kuangren chuckled. He held a white immortal tendon in his hand. He planned to use this immortal tendon as the bowstring of this bow. There was probably only one bow in the entire purple gold galaxy that used the immortal tendon as the bowstring. Coupled with Chu Kuangren's crafting skills, he might even be able to refine a longbow that was close to an immortal weapon. While Chu Kuangren was crafting, many disciples of the Li family who were scattered all over the Li family had arrived. These people gathered together and were talking about their recent experiences. D*Mnet, how D*Mnet? One of the former sky prides of the Li family said hatefully, the Black Blood Gang is determined to kill us all. We can't stay on the Sirius Star anymore. But where can we go if we leave the Sirius Star? The purple gold galaxy may be huge, but the Black Blood Gang has eyes all over the place. Unless we hide our identities, it's hard not to be found. That's right. Besides, if we go to other places, other civilizations might not accept us. It's too difficult to rebuild in other civilizations, not to mention the threat of the Black Blood Gang. Everyone was talking at once. They were a little desperate. In particular, after these days of fleeing in a sorry state, they had worn down their morale. The Black Blood Tower was like a guillotine, hanging above their heads at all times, and could fall down at any time, causing them to be constantly on edge. Everyone, I've gathered everyone here today because I have a way to turn the situation around, Li Xuan said to everyone. She then proceeded to tell him about Chu Kuangren's story. Everyone looked at each other when they heard her. Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren? He actually came to serious? I've heard rumors before. I thought they were just rumors, but it turns out to be true. Where is the poetic sword saint now? A Li family elder asked. He is in seclusion, said Li Shuang. You gave him the Li clan's immortal arts? Yes. Li Shuang nodded. What a fool. The Li family elder could not help but shake his head. What if Chu Kuangren suddenly changes his mind? There's no doubt that Chu Kuangren's purpose in coming to the Sirius Star this time is to target the Black Blood Gang. He's the key to us turning the tables. I'll give him the immortal technique first to show our sincerity in our cooperation. If he goes back on his word, we'll die sooner or later. It doesn't matter whether we give him the immortal technique or not. Li Shuang said faintly. Furthermore, if Chu Kuangren wanted the immortal technique, Chu Kuangren could just snatch it away by force. There was no way he could stop him, so he might as well take the initiative and hand it over. Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren. This person's name has been resounding in the Purple Gold Galaxy recently, but can he really deal with the Black Blood Gang? You should know that the Black Blood Hall Master is no ordinary Heaven Law Master. There were also some who did not think highly of Chu Kuangren. Although Chu Kuangren was very famous, they had never seen his true strength. However, the Black Blood Hall Master was different. He had killed the Li family head, and that strength was deeply engraved in their hearts. No matter what, this is our only hope, Li Shuan said. There's no hope for all of you. At that moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. Following that, a few extremely powerful domineering auras instantly locked onto the entire Li family residence. Li Shuan and the others' expressions changed slightly. In the sky above the Li family residence, 3 figures were floating. They were 2 men and 1 woman, and all of them were wearing purple masks. The purple-masked assassins of the Black Blood Gang. Besides these people, there were also many silver-masked and gold-masked assassins who had surrounded the entire Li family residence. Relentless Swordsman, the Path Master of Chaotic Minds, the Path Master of Black Fox, and the other 3 purple-masked assassins of the Black Blood Gang. They're all here. What a terrifying aura. Li Xuan's expression was extremely solemn. Then she took out a rune and cast it in midair. In an instant, a large number of Taoist patterns intertwined in the void and formed into a runic enchanted boundary that enveloped the entire Li family residence. Oh, it seems like you already knew that we would come. The purple-masked assassin, the Path Master of Black Fox, said coldly. Of course. This is a seal that Brother Chu set up. Even the Path Master of Sky would need some time to break it. Li Xuan said calmly. Where's Chu Kuangren? Relentless Swordsman said coldly. He was the most powerful among the 3 purple-masked assassins. When he mentioned Chu Kuangren, a hint of battle intent flashed in his eyes. Let's talk after we break this enchanted boundary. Li Xuan snorted. Then she took out her longbow and shot out a series of arrows. The arrows were like rain, exploding in the group of assassins. Some assassins could not dodge in time and were hit by the arrows. The other Li family disciples had also made their moves. After being hunted for so long, they channeled their emperor's chi to its limit and shot out a series of arrows to vent their anger. Boom, 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 the void continued to explode. The 3 purple-masked assassins had also made their moves. The emotionless sword was unleashed, and its sword ray covered the sky. The sect master of the Chaotic Mind sect was a woman. She had a charming appearance and a sweet smile. She took out a pitch-black zither and plucked the strings with her 10 fingers. Strands of zither ripples swept out like raging waves, crashing against the barrier. The last one was the Black Fox Taoist master. He was a demonic beast from the Sirius Star, and his surging demonic chi formed a giant black fox avatar behind him. It waved its claws and set off gusts of strong winds on the enchanted boundary. The 3 heavenly Taoists attacked together, and their terrifying energy caused the runic boundary to tremble. Even the entire Li family residence was on the verge of collapse. After a round of attacks from the heavenly Taoist master, the enchanted boundary dimmed significantly. Just a few more attacks and we'll be able to break this enchanted boundary. When that time comes, not only the Li family but even that poetic sword fairy Chu Kuangren will also die here. I heard that he killed the young master in the branch division. Whoever kills him will not only receive the original bounty reward, but also a special reward from the Lord Leader. Not bad. The 3 heavenly Taoists seemed to have thought of something, and their eyes were filled with excitement. They could not help but increase the strength of their attacks. With a loud bang, the runic boundary was completely shattered. Li Xuan looked into the distance with an anxious look in her eyes. The rest of the people felt their hearts skip a beat, feeling a little hopeless. Kill? The emotionless sword said coldly. However, at that moment, ripples appeared in the void, and a dazzling beam of light shot out from afar. Within that beam of light, countless Taoist patterns flowed. Vaguely, a purplish-red longbow appeared, emanating waves of powerful fluctuations. Is that a Taoist weapon? Such a powerful Taoist weapon fluctuation. It's a heavenly Taoist weapon. No, I'm afraid its aura far surpasses that of an ordinary heavenly Taoist weapon. I can't believe the Li family hid such a treasure. Chapter 891. The Li family mansion. The Bao had appeared. A powerful Tao artifact ripple spread like a tide. More than half of the Sirius Star's experts could feel this ripple. In an instant, streams of light swept toward the Li family mansion. Such a powerful Tao artifact ripple. It's definitely a top-notch heavenly Tao artifact. No, it might even be in existence close to an immortal artifact. We can't miss such a treasure. Even if we can't get it, it's good to take a look. Soon, many experts arrived outside the Li family mansion. They also saw the large number of Black Blood Tower assassins. Their hearts skipped a beat when they saw this group of assassins. They did not dare to get too close. The people from Black Blood Tower are here so quickly. No, there are also people from the Li family. If I'm not wrong, the assassins from Black Blood Tower are here to eliminate the remaining members of the Li family. Wait, that's a Bao. And it's within the Li family's territory. Could this be the Li family's hidden treasure? No, the Li family's strongest serious Bao has long been taken away by the Black Blood Tower master. If there was such a treasure, the Li family would have used it long ago. There's no need to wait until now to take it out. Then where did this Bao come from? Wait, look at that string. Suddenly, a knowledgeable cultivator seemed to have discovered something. He looked at the string of the purple gold longbow and could not help but swallow his saliva. The string was crystal clear like jade and emitted rays of immortal radiance. This was an immortal tendon. Immortal tendon. Using immortal tendon as a string. What kind of weapon refiner is this? How could he have such a skill? This is ridiculous. A weapon refiner said in shock. In his opinion, the most powerful weapon refiner in the purple gold galaxy should be the virtual immortal Dust Sky. However, even the virtual immortal Dust Sky had never heard of him using immortal materials to forge a Tao artifact. This was probably the first time in the purple gold galaxy. This Bao is mine, the Black Blood Tower. The Black Fox Tao master chuckled. His figure flashed and flew toward the purple-red longbow. However, at this moment, a terrifying imperial chi whizzed out from under the longbow, forcing the Black Fox Tao master to retreat hundreds of meters. Everyone couldn't help but be attracted to it. Who is it? There was a creak. The door opened. A figure walked out. It was a handsome young man dressed in a gorgeous robe with an ancient white jade sword hanging from his waist. His every movement was extraordinary and refined. Seeing this person, everyone's pupils shrank slightly. It really is him. Poetic Sword Fairy Chu Kuangren? I've heard too many rumors about this person. This is the first time I've seen him in person. This aura is indeed extraordinary. Everyone discussed animatedly. The three purple-masked assassins looked at Chu Kuangren with a hint of seriousness in their eyes because they felt threatened by him. An unprecedented threat. Absolute Poison Sect Master was killed by this man. Do Ju deserve to die? Who asked him to be so greedy that he dared to hunt down Chu Kuangren all by himself? He should have looked at himself first. However, the three of us purple-masked assassins are here today. No matter how strong the poetic sword god is, he won't be a match for the three of us. According to our intelligence, he's just a late-stage great Tao Lord. I still have to be careful. Chu Kuangren walked out of the room under the curious and serious gazes of the crowd. He slowly rose into the air and came before the longbow. I finally succeeded. Chu Kuangren murmured. This longbow was the result of his closed-door meditation for the past few days. Not good, we can't let him get that longbow. The sect master of chaotic mind's gaze froze. Chu Kuangren's strength was already unfathomable. If he were to get his hands on a top-tier heavenly Tao weapon, who knew how much his strength would increase? Kill. The emotionless sword yelled. In an instant, the surrounding assassins gave up on Li Xuan and the others and charged towards Chu Kuangren, unleashing all sorts of powerful killing techniques. Chu Kuangren remained calm in the face of these attacks. He reached out and grabbed the longbow. At that moment, the aura of the person and the heavenly Tao weapon resonated. Amidst the rumbling, a surge of powerful Emperor's Qi erupted from Chu Kuangren's body. Like a raging wave, it shattered all the incoming attacks. "Today I'll test the power of this longbow on all of you," Chu Kuangren said. He suddenly drew the longbow and aimed it at the sky. Seeing this, the crowd could not help but be shocked. Did the poetic sword god know archery? The intelligence did not mention it. Besides, what kind of posture was that to draw the longbow and aim it at the sky? Could it be? Li Xuan was the only one who thought of something. Her pupils shrunk and her body trembled as if she had encountered something unbelievable. An arrow that was condensed from Emperor's Qi and phoenix flames formed on the bowstring. A surge of mysterious and powerful immortal technique rippled. Everyone from the Li family widened their eyes. This is, boom. The bowstring was released. The arrow pierced through the air and flew into the sky. Accompanied by a clear and loud whistling sound, the arrow turned into a gorgeous bird that was completely fiery red. It was one of the 4 symbols, the vermilion bird. This is bad. This is the 4 divine sun-shooting arrows, the vermilion bird arrow. The Li family and the Black Blood Gang assassins could not help but be shocked. The vermilion bird soared into the sky and rotated its wings. Thousands of fiery feathers rained down in all directions like a storm, and each fiery feather was an arrow. Thousands of fiery feathers, thousands of arrows. Boom, 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 the group of Black Blood Gang assassins bore the brunt of the attack. Under the rain of arrows, they were all burned into ashes. How can this be? How can he know the Li family's 4 divine sun-shooting arrows? Is he related to the Li family in some way? Everyone was dumbfounded. This was especially true for the Li family. The 4 divine sun-shooting arrows was their immortal technique. Even in the Li family not many people knew it. However, Chu Kuangren had mastered it. Moreover, its power far surpassed theirs. Even if the Li family's head were to come back to life, he would not be able to use it better. The most important thing was, I just gave him this immortal technique a few days ago and he's already mastered it. How did he do it? Li Xuan said in disbelief. Even in the history of the Li clan, the fastest cultivator to master this immortal art had taken several decades. However, Chu Kuangren only took a few days. Rumor has it that this person can create his own immortal technique. Looks like it's true. Otherwise, how could he have mastered the 4 divine sun-shooting arrows so quickly? Li Xuan's voice was trembling. The poetic sword saint, what kind of person was he? You guys are up next. Chu Kuangren killed most of the assassins with a single arrow. Then he looked at the 3 purple-masked assassins. All 3 of them were heavenly Tao masters. Strike first and gain the upper hand. We can't give him another chance to use his arrows. Relentless Swordsman and the other 2 immediately attacked. Sword Qi, Guqing music and demonic Qi erupted one after another. However, Chu Kuangren disappeared in the next instant and reappeared on a mountain peak thousands of kilometers away. It was the space conveyor skill. An archer's forte was naturally long-range attacks. Chu Kuangren had the space conveyor skill. He could determine the distance between him and his enemies. From this, one could say that he was a natural-born archer. 4 divine sun-shooting arrow, Azure Dragon. Chu Kuangren pulled the bowstring and the Emperor's Qi surged out, condensing into an arrow. It then shot out and turned into a ferocious azure dragon. The terrifying dragon's aura instantly locked onto Relentless Swordsman. 4 divine sun-shooting arrow, White Tiger. 4 divine sun-shooting arrow, Black Tortoise. Chu Kuangren shot out 2 more arrows. The other 2 divine beasts also appeared in the void and attacked the other 2 purple-masked assassins. Chapter 892. The 4 demonic sun arrow was an archery technique that the ancestors of the Li family had obtained from an ancient ruin. This archery technique imitated the images of the 4 famous divine beasts of the universe and was known as the #1 offensive technique in the Sirius Star. Chu Kuangren had unleashed its full potential at that moment. Not to mention he had the support of the treasured bow in his hand. That bow was made of immortal tendons. The 3 divine beasts leaped into the air and charged at the 3 purple-masked assassins. The emotionless sword roared and swung the long sword in his hand. He channeled his Taoist Emperor's Qi to its limit and unleashed a sword ray that covered the sky. That sword attack was cold and merciless as it froze the void. On the other side, the Path Master of the Disordered Mind and the Black Fox Taoist sensed an unprecedented threat and activated their most powerful cultivation techniques. The Path Master of the Disordered Mind plucked the Guqing strings with all 10 fingers, causing sound waves to ripple out towards the Black Tortoise. Meanwhile, the Black Fox Taoist Chi surged and turned into a giant black fox avatar. It waved its claws and gusts of demonic wind blew. Boom boom boom. The three purple-masked assassins faced off against the three arrows, causing three earth-shattering explosions. Violent Emperor's Chi and Taoist patterns covered half the sky. When the dust settled, a tattered zither and the broken corpse of a black demon fox could be seen lying on the ground. Everyone's eyes widened when they saw that. The Guqin represented the path master of the disordered mind, and the black fox demon was the black fox Taoist. Both of them were killed by a single arrow. Only the emotionless sword was left standing in the void. However, he was not in a good state either. He was severely injured by the Azure Dragon arrow, and half of his body was almost blown up. His aura was extremely weak. 3 arrows killed 2 Heavenly Tao Masters and severely injured 1. The Heavenly Tao Masters who were attracted by the scene were in disbelief and could not help but stare at Chu Kuangren. The Li family was the same. The 4 demonic sun arrow is even more powerful than our masters. I can't believe the poetic sword sage's archery skills have reached such a level. By the heavens, only the sky prides of the Li family have the opportunity to learn the 4 demonic sun arrow, and each of them has to spend many years to master it. Not only did he master it in a few days, but he has also reached such a level. Is he even human? Monster, on a distant mountain peak. Chu Kuangren looked at the relentless sword who had blocked his arrow and smirked. I'm really sorry. I've only just mastered this archery technique, so I'm not very familiar with it yet. That's why I couldn't kill you in one shot. Hearing this, Emotionless Sword's face turned green. However, he knew very well that he was no match for Chu Kuangren. Not daring to stay any longer, he turned around and fled into the distance. But then he felt a chill coming from behind. Turning your back to an archer, how stupid. Chu Kuangren's indifferent voice rang out. Bang. It was the sound of the bowstring vibrating. A dragon roar resounded. The Azure Dragon arrow shot out again. The Azure Dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, soared into the sky and landed fiercely on Emotionless Sword's body from behind, blasting him into a bloody mist. Now, the 4 purple-masked assassins of the Black Blood Tower had fallen. Chu Kuangren looked at the bow in his hand and smiled in satisfaction. The 4-beast shooting sun arrow is a good match for this longbow. This bow is made of immortal tendons and purple gold. Let's call it the Purple Immortal Bow. In a flash, he returned to the Li residence. Everyone looked at him with respect in their eyes. Li Xuan, on the other hand, had an uncontrollable admiration in her eyes. Greetings, Brother Chu. An elder of the Li family stepped forward and said respectfully. He glanced at the purple immortal bow in Chu Kuangren's hand and his eyes burned with passion. Just like a sword and a swordsman, a treasured bow would be a great help to a cultivator who practiced archery. However, although he desired it, he did not dare to have any evil thoughts. Chu Kuangren's strength was there for all to see. A single arrow was enough to kill 10 of him. How many experts are left in the Li family? Chu Kuangren nodded slightly and asked. The elder of the Li family sighed helplessly. There are less than 20 Dao Lords in the Li family that can still be mobilized. 20. That's enough. The elder of the Li family was stunned. 20 Dao Lords were enough to deal with the Black Blood Tower? That had to be a joke. I'm talking about the junior Dao Lords. There are only 2 or 3 great Dao Lords left. As for the Heavenly Dao Lord, only one of their forefathers is still in hibernation. The elder of the Li family added. Apart from the Heavenly Dao Lord, the rest of the Dao Lords combined were no match for the Black Blood Tower's master. Even if the hibernating Heavenly Dao Lord were to awaken, he would not be a match for the Black Blood Tower's master. That's enough, Chu Kuangren said. He did not plan to rely on the Li family's strength to deal with the Black Blood Tower. These Dao Lords were the Li family's trump card to ensure that they could continue to rule the Sirius Star after he eradicated the Black Blood Tower. As long as the Li family could rule the Sirius Star, he could continue to trade with the Li family. That way, it would be more convenient for him to establish relations with the Firmament Star in the future. Brother Chu, what should we do next? Li Xuan asked. However, at that moment, the elder of the Li family suddenly received a message and his expression changed slightly. Elder, what's wrong? Li Xuan asked. It's a message from the lady of the Li family. She said that the Black Blood Tower has discovered the forefathers' hibernation. Now, the Black Blood Tower's master is heading there with assassins to kill the forefather, the elder of the Li family said coldly. When the others heard this, they all revealed looks of panic. What? How could this be? The forefather is the last pillar of our Li family. If he's killed, I'm afraid the Li family will not be able to turn the situation around. No, we can't let the Black Blood Tower have their way. But how are we a match for the Black Blood Tower's master? Everyone looked at Chu Kuangren. Only he could go against the Black Blood Tower's master. Is the Black Blood Tower's master on the move? That's great. It saves me the trouble of looking for him, Chu Kuangren said calmly. He decided to go to the forefathers' hibernation. Once the Black Blood Tower's master was taken care of, the Black Blood Tower would no longer be a threat. Celestial Snow Mountain. This was the hibernation place of the Li family's forefather. This forefather was extremely powerful as he was a late-stage sky master. However, because he was severely injured in his early years, he could only use hibernation to slow down his injuries. That was why he had been lingering in this world. After witnessing the Black Blood Tower's master's strength, Li Xuan and the others did not place their hopes on this forefather to defeat him. Their biggest hope was that the forefather would lead them to other civilizations to expand their territory and rebuild the Li family. As for revenge, that would be left to the future generations. However, as an assassin organization, the Black Blood Tower's creed was to kill everyone. How could they let this forefather go? Therefore, the Black Blood Tower's master sent people to follow the Li family's eldest daughter and find the hibernation place of the Li family's forefather. Then he personally brought people to destroy the Li family's last pillar of support. Deep within the Sky Snow Mountains mountain range, a giant runic enchanted boundary shrouded the area. On the outside, there were assassins continuously attacking the enchanted boundary. Inside the enchanted boundary, there was a beautiful lady with a longbow on her back. This lady was the Li family's eldest daughter, Li Xuefei. At this time, she was relying on the enchanted boundary of the Li family's forefathers' hibernation place to resist the Black Blood Tower's assassins. Behind her, there was an ice coffin. An old man laid in the ice coffin. It was the Li family's forefather. However, the enchanted boundary would not last long. When that happened, she and the Li family's forefather would most likely perish here. The heavens really want the Li family to die. Chapter 893. Sky Snow Mountain. Within the Li family ancestors' slumber, Li Xuefei was struggling to hold on. The longbow in her hand was constantly pulling the bowstring and shooting arrows, pulling the bowstring and shooting arrows. Like a machine, she killed the killers who were constantly approaching the barrier. However, this still couldn't stop the barrier from crumbling. And this was not the biggest threat. Not far from the boundary, on a mountain peak, stood a middle-aged man in a black robe, staring coldly at the boundary. This person was the master of the Black Blood Hall. Tower Master, why don't you just destroy this barrier? An assassin next to the Black Blood Tower Master asked. This killer did not wear any mask, but his aura was not much weaker than any purple-masked killer. The Black Blood Hall Master said faintly, I just received news that the 3 purple-masked assassins who went to kill Chu Kuangren are all dead. Upon hearing that, the assassin's expression changed. Those are 3 heavenly Dao Masters we're talking about. Is Chu Kuangren really that powerful? Yes, he's stronger than I thought. What does this have to do with the OP not taking action? This Li Xuefei and even the Li family's elder ancestor behind her are nothing to be afraid of, but they are bait. I can use them to lure the rest of the Li family's experts and even Chu Kuangren over. The master of Black Blood Hall said lightly. Upon hearing that, the assassin finally understood. However, he could not help but say worriedly, if Chu Kuangren were to join forces with the Li family's elder ancestor, I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with them. The current me is invincible on Sirius. Chu Kuangren and the crippled Heavenly Dao Master are nothing to be afraid of. The Black Blood Tower Master's eyes revealed a hint of confidence. Faintly, his body revealed an indescribably terrifying pressure that caused the nearby assassins to be unable to help but tremble. It was as if he was facing the might of the heavens. Ever since the Tower Master came out of seclusion and killed the Li family's patriarch, you seem to have changed. Your aura is even more unfathomable. The group of assassins secretly exclaimed. Their eyes faintly revealed a wisp of reverence and adoration. That was the assassins' longing for the King of Assassins. Heavenly Snow Mountain within the boundary. More than half of the Emperor energy in Li Xuefei's body had been consumed. A pair of slender fingers had ruptured due to the repetitive pulling of the bow, causing blood to seep out. She did not know how many arrows she had shot. He only knew the repetitive action of drawing the bow and shooting the arrow mechanically. Bang! At this moment there was a loud noise. The bowstring in Li Xuefei's hand suddenly broke, and the Emperor's chi dissipated from the bowstring, causing her to suffer a backlash. The string broke? Li Shuefei stared blankly at the bow in her hand. She remembered. When she was being chased, this bow had been slashed by the assassins several times and was already damaged. In addition, she had used it so many times just now. This great Taoist treasure bow finally couldn't hold on any longer. Looks like this is the end. Li Shuefei sighed. An archer without a bow would lose at least half of his combat power. At this moment, a strange sound came from behind her. The old man in the ice coffin suddenly opened his eyes. With a bang, the ice coffin exploded. The old man sat up. He looked around and released his majestic arch consciousness. Soon he understood what had happened on the Sirius star recently. I never thought that my Li family would actually fall to such a state. Li family elders sighed. Patriarch. Li Shuefei's face lit up when she saw him wake up. The Li clan elder nodded. Child, you've suffered. Leave the rest to me. He got up and walked out of the ice coffin. Then he slapped the ice coffin, shattering it. Among the ice crystal shards that filled the sky, a light blue longbow emitting cold air and Tao patterns appeared. Li Shuefei's eyes lit up. Ice divine bow. According to what she knew, this patriarch's bow was made from 1,000,000-year-old mystic ice. It was very powerful. In the Li family, it could be said to be a treasure bow that was on par with the Sirius bow. Traitor of my Li family, feel the power of the ice divine bow. Elder Li said coldly. He grabbed the bowstring and pulled it. An ice crystal arrow emitting cold air condensed. With a swoosh, the arrow pierced through the sky. Everywhere it went, the assassins were frozen into ice sculptures by the cold air on the arrow. This arrow was like a hot knife through butter. It wrapped with cold air and shot towards the Master of Black Blood Tower who was on the mountain peak far away. Facing this arrow, the Master of Black Blood Tower sneered. He raised his hand and struck out with his palm, easily shattering the ice crystal arrow into pieces. However, the shattered ice crystals still shot out in all directions. Some assassins couldn't dodge in time and were killed on the spot. Oh, as expected of the sleeping elderly family. You do have some strength. The Master of Black Blood Tower said softly. Elderly looked at the Master of Black Blood Tower indifferently. He pulled the ice divine bow in his hand again. Today I will kill you here and avenge the countless disciples of my Li family. His emperor's chi surged. The cold air between heaven and earth madly gathered towards him and condensed into another ice crystal arrow. At the same time, a powerful wave of celestial technique spread out. 4 symbols shooting sun, white tiger. The ice arrow pierced through the sky. The majestic cold air transformed into a giant white tiger. With a soaring murderous aura, it shocked many assassins. However, the Master of Black Blood Tower's expression was still extremely calm. He slowly raised his hand and a dark red long saber appeared in his hand. With a slash of the saber, the dark and cold saber radiance wrapped with a murderous aura that was even more chilling than the cold. The giant white tiger was slashed into pieces by the saber radiance. The massacre Tao. No wonder he's the king of assassins. Elder Li's expression turned solemn. Every cultivator who cultivated the massacre Tao was the best at close combat. Their combat power was the best among those in the same realm. Elder Li, I heard that you are in deep sleep here due to serious injuries. I wonder how much of your injuries have healed and how many arrows can you shoot? The Master of Black Blood Tower said indifferently. He waved the dark red long saber in his hand lightly. Another saber radiance that was tens of thousands of zhonglong slashed out and shattered the barrier. Let's try again. Elder Li shielded Li Shuefei behind him. The ice frost divine bow in his hand shot out arrows one after another. Each arrow was the shadow of a divine beast. However, the Master of Black Blood Tower was too powerful. He waved the long saber in his hand continuously. Without using any cultivation technique, the saber radiance shattered the arrows one by one. Child, leave first. I'll hold him back. Elder Li said to Li Shuefei. His eyes revealed a tinge of determination. The Master of Black Blood Tower's strength was beyond his imagination. To defeat him he could only use the Li clan's forbidden skill. However, his injuries had not fully recovered. Once the forbidden skill was used he would definitely die. However, Li Shuefei had high potential. In the future she would definitely be above him. To protect the future of the Li clan, Elder Li could only fight with his life on the line. Wanna leave? Where can you go? The Master of Black Blood Tower snorted. Around them, assassins surrounded Li Shuefei and the Li family patriarch. There was no way out at all. Chapter 894. Celestial Snow Mountain. The awakened Li family patriarch and Li Shuefei were in a desperate situation as the killers surrounded them tightly. 4 sun archers, vermilion bird. The Li family elder raised his arm and shot an arrow. The vermilion bird appeared. However, it was a fire-based technique, which was not compatible with the frost Dao that he cultivated. Although he could forcefully cast it, its power was much weaker than his other arrow techniques. That being said, the power of this technique was more than enough to deal with some assassins. Thousands of fire feathers scattered in all directions. He wanted to open a path for Li Shuefei. The Black Blood Hall Master knew what he was planning. He waved his long saber and a saber ray was unleashed, setting off a violent saber wind that blocked the thousands of fire feathers' arrows. Blood slash. The Black Blood Hall Master attacked again. This was the first time he used a cultivation technique, which was an immortal technique that he cultivated. With a slash, a dark red saber ray poured out. The Li family elder's expression changed and he pulled his bow again. 4 sun archers, azure dragon. The azure dragon shot out, and the arrow chi turned into an azure dragon that bared its fangs and claws. However, it was still no match for the horrifying saber ray that was filled with blood and killing chi. It was forcefully shattered. Not only that, but the saber ray landed on the Li family elder's body and sent him flying. 4 sun archers, just SOSO. The Black Blood Hall Master sneered. Oh, try me then. At that moment, an indifferent voice suddenly rang across the sky. Following that, 2 arrows pierced through the sky. One of the arrows turned into a vermilion bird. The vermilion bird spread its wings and turned into thousands of fire feathers arrows that landed on the assassins, killing half of them. The other arrow turned into a white tiger. The white tiger roared, and its roar shook the heavens and earth. The Black Blood Hall Master narrowed his eyes and slashed with his dark red long saber. Majestic Emperor's chi in Taoist patterns spread out like a tide and bombarded the white tiger. The collision of the 2 forces caused the entire celestial snow mountain to explode. The Black Blood Hall Master retreated a few hundred meters and looked into the void. In the void, a white-robed figure appeared in the sky. His expression was calm and his gaze was calm. He held a purple-red longbow in his hand, and his aura was extraordinary. It was Chu Kuangren. Behind him were the members of the Li clan. Sister. When Li Xuan saw Li Shuefei, she quickly rushed over. On the other hand, the Li family's elder looked at Chu Kuangren with a doubtful look in his eyes. Chu Kuangren had used the 4 demonic sun-striking arrow, but its power was much stronger than his own. Not to mention that his treasured bow was also extraordinary. It was even more outstanding than his frost bow. Wait a minute, why was there a sword at his waist? Could it be that the other party also knew the way of the sword? Since when did the Li family have such an archer? Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren, you're finally here. The Black Blood Hall Master stared at Chu Kuangren with a strange look in his eyes. Li family elder was even more confused when he heard this. Surname Chu? He wasn't from the Li family. Also, what arrogance, daring to use the name of an immortal. Chu Kuangren and the Black Blood Hall's master stared at each other. 2 completely different and powerful auras collided in an instant. Looks like you were waiting for me. Yes, I'm waiting for you. The Black Blood Hall's master sneered. Just you wait, to kill you. As soon as he said that, the aura on his body became even stronger. A cold, murderous intent mixed with the snowstorm, making the surroundings even colder. The members of the Li family could not help but shudder. They looked at the Black Blood Hall's master with fear in their eyes. Kill me? Many people have said the same thing to me before. But now they have all reunited in the underworld. Chu Kuangren chuckled with disdain in his eyes. At the same time, the spirit of omniscience Xiao AI was activated. He had analyzed the Black Blood Hall's master thoroughly, but what surprised him was that the Black Blood Hall's master was actually a clone. Not only that, this clone actually had heavenly Dao energy within its body. The other party was a star master. Chu Kuangren was excited. A clone and heavenly Dao energy. Looks like you've given me quite a lot of surprises. Upon hearing that, the Black Blood Hall's master's eyes shrunk. How is this possible? How could you tell? One should know that this clone of his was extremely powerful. It could even be said to be the same as the original. He had spent countless materials and effort to refine it, so it could be said to be a second Black Blood Hall's master. No one had ever been able to see through his true self. However, Chu Kuangren had seen through it with just a glance. This made him even more wary of Chu Kuangren. The legendary poetic sword sage is extremely cunning and has an endless number of trump cards. It seems that you also have a powerful sensory technique. The Black Blood Hall's master calmed himself down and said, "There's still a lot more that you don't know," Chu Kuangren said. He raised the purple divine bow in his hand, pulled the bowstring and formed an arrow. In one breath, he continuously performed the 4 sun-striking divine archery technique. 4 divine beast silhouettes appeared and charged towards the Black Blood Hall's master. An incredibly powerful force instantly shattered the void where the Black Blood Hall was, as well as the dozens of golden-masked assassins around him. That power made the Li family members who were experts in archery gulp. Even the Li family's elder ancestor was shocked. "I can't believe my Li family's immortal technique could unleash such a powerful force on an outsider's phone. It's stronger than any of us. This is simply inconceivable." Amidst the exclamations, a blood-colored blade ray suddenly erupted. Blood slash. The Black Blood Hall's master unleashed a slash, and the mighty blade ray shattered the 4 divine beast silhouettes one by one. Then his figure flashed. His speed was so fast that none of the cultivators present could catch a glimpse of him. In the next instant he appeared in front of Chu Kuangren. "Not good," the Li family's elder ancestor exclaimed. An archer that was in close range was extremely dangerous. The Black Blood Hall's master suddenly unleashed a slash. However, at that moment, the descendant self-sword on Chu Kuangren's waist was unsheathed. A cold sword ray bloomed, and the Honorable Emperor Sword Art's fluctuations erupted. The sword and the saber collided with each other. The Black Blood Hall's master was blasted hundreds of meters away, crashing into the Sky Snow Mountain's mountain range. With a loud bang, the mountain range cracked and a huge crater appeared. The Black Blood Hall's master half knelt in the middle of the crater, his gaze solemn. "I say, are you mistaken? Other than the bow and arrow, I still have this descendant self-sword," Chu Kuangren said indifferently. An archer that did not know how to fight in close range was definitely not a good archer. Compared to the newly learned bow and arrow, Chu Kuangren's swordsmanship and close-range combat techniques were much more powerful. "Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren, why don't I know about your sword?" The Black Blood Hall's master sneered. Then a suit of armor appeared on his body, and the Emperor's chi surged. Vaguely, countless ferocious spirits were howling around him. In the blink of an eye, the surroundings had turned into an Azura purgatory. A terrifying murderous aura filled the entire area. Even the Li family's elder ancestor's gaze was extremely solemn. What a terrifying Tao of slaughter. The Black Blood Hall's master, the king of assassins, is indeed worthy of his reputation. Surrounded by ferocious spirits, the Black Blood Hall's master held the dark red longsword in his hand. He stared at Chu Kuangren and sneered. "Chu Kuangren, I'll let you have a taste of the power of my immortal technique, the massacre scene." Chapter 895. What a rare scene of slaughter. Chu Kuangren looked at the scene of thousands of ghosts wailing before him with a calm expression. He put away the purple fairy bow and slowly descended with the descendant self-sword in his hand. The moment he landed, the ghosts around him automatically dissipated. Although he was in the Azura Hell, he was still as transcendent as ever. His gorgeous white robe was spotless as well. "Kill?" The Black Blood Hall master sneered and swung the long sword in his hand. One after another, ferocious ghosts charged towards Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren stood still in the face of this. He slowly opened his palm and a golden red fire lotus bloomed in the void. Boom! The fire lotus exploded and a terrifying wave of fire swept out. The thousands of ghosts were instantly turned into ashes under the impact of the fire wave. "Is this all a scene of slaughter can do?" Chu Kuangren said calmly. "You haven't experienced the true power of this scene of slaughter." The Black Blood Hall master sneered, and the ghosts that were burned into ashes by the fire wave reformed again. "Oh, there's no end to them? As long as I'm not dead, these ferocious spirits that are formed from my Tao of killing will never cease," the Black Blood Hall master said. Then he gripped his dark red longsword and charged towards Chu Kuangren together with the ferocious spirits. The ghosts howled, trying to affect Chu Kuangren. The Black Blood Hall master waved his long sword, and rays of blood-colored sword rays intertwined, forming a dense killing net that completely enveloped Chu Kuangren. With a single thought, 10,000 rivers of frost and snow. Chu Kuangren's Emperor's essence and mind power were activated at the same time. The lunar immortal physique was also activated. A terrifying chill was unleashed and countless ghosts were frozen. Even the sword ray that the Black Blood Hall master unleashed was frozen for a moment. That moment was enough for Chu Kuangren to find an opening. He took a step forward and thrust out the descendant self-sword. The sword ray flashed and pierced the black armor that the Black Blood Hall Master was wearing. His physical strength and sword chi exploded at the same time. The attack sent the Black Blood Hall Master flying. However, the armor was so tough that the sword could not completely break through it. Chu Kuangren activated his mind power. A gigantic colorful rune was formed, and 9 colorful divine dragons soared into the sky before entering Chu Kuangren's body. It was the Divine 9 Dragon Transformation Talisman. Amidst the explosion, Chu Kuangren /S aura skyrocketed. It was almost at the threshold of the Heavenly Dao Master realm. However, his battle prowess was far greater than that of an ordinary Lord of the Heaven Law. Honorable Emperor Sword Art. Chu Kuangren raised his hand and unleashed another slash. A huge Emperor Dharma form condensed, and sword chi circulated in the center of its palm, condensing into a huge sword shadow that fell toward the Master of the Black Blood Hall. Accompanied by a loud bang, the entire scene of slaughter shook. Chu Kuangren suddenly let out a soft gasp. Under the golden sword shadow, a large dark red hand appeared on the Black Blood Hall's master's body and blocked the sword shadow. The scene of slaughter, the appearance of the Ghost King. The master of the Black Blood Hall shouted coldly. Countless malicious ghosts gathered towards him, and the dark red hand pressed down on the ground as if an extremely terrifying existence was crawling out from the ground. Very soon, the figure appeared. It was a ferocious-looking Dharma form with 3 heads and 6 arms. Boundless murderous chi and resentment surged out from the Dharma form. Is this the true power of your immortal technique? Chu Kuangren said. Then the Emperor /S chi circulated behind him, and surges of different Taoist physique fluctuations spread out, forming a huge colorful Dharma form. The 10,000 Dharma forms had condensed. Chu Kuangren had used a technique against an Dharma form. With his current cultivation level, he once again displayed the 10,000 Daos. The terrifying power was vast and mighty, crashing into the entire scene of slaughter. Amidst the explosion, the 10,000 Dharma forms and the Ghost King Dharma form collided, and the snowstorm on the entire sky snow mountain instantly dissipated. Even the mountains within a radius of 10,000 kilometers were razed to the ground. The terrifying impact forced the remaining assassins and the people of the Li family to retreat dozens of kilometers away as they channeled their Emperor /S chi to defend themselves. As the 2 great Dharma forms clashed, the shockwaves that erupted swept across all directions like a natural disaster. Boom, 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 the Dharma forms collided one after another, and for a while they were evenly matched. The Black Blood Hall /S master was a little shocked. I can /T believe this guy has such a technique up his sleeves. Isn't /T this Dharma form a little too strange? After fighting for a while, the Black Blood Hall /S master still could not suppress Chu Kuangren. On the contrary, Chu Kuangren seemed to be quite relaxed. He was calm and unpressured. Is this all the King of Assassins can do? Chu Kuangren activated the heavenly Dao energy within his body. Under the unification Taoist realm, the 10,000 Dharma forms power increased again. Do you think you /Re the only one who has the heavenly Dao energy? Heavenly Dao combine. Feeling the pressure, the Black Blood Hall /S master let out a long roar as he felt a surge of energy imbue his body. That was the Sirius Star /S heavenly Dao energy. From afar, the Li family /S forefather /S expression changed. The heavenly Dao energy. The Black Blood Hall /S master has become the Sirius Star /S master. He took a deep breath as realization dawned on him. No wonder the Li family lost. The Black Blood Hall /S master was already a star master. On the Sirius Star, even the heavenly Dao was on his side. How could the Li family win? I /V been waiting for you to use this technique. Chu Kuangren /S eyes lit up when he saw that. Then his figure flashed and disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the Black Blood Hall /S master. Sanguine slash. The Black Blood Hall /S master immediately swung his sword. A blood-colored sword ray appeared. Chu Kuangren did not dodge or evade the attack. Instead, he used the Descendant Self-Sword to negate most of the attack /S power before allowing the attack to land on his body. Even the remaining power was enough to kill the Heavenly Dao Master. However, that was nothing to Chu Kuangren /S Starlight Immortal Physique, not to mention that he also had a defensive Heavenly Dao weapon. That attack only caused his body to tremble slightly. Next, Chu Kuangren grabbed the Black Blood Hall /S Master his hand, and an incredibly mysterious fluctuation erupted from his body. That fluctuation caused the heavenly Tao energy within the Black Blood Hall /S Master to tremble for a moment before it poured out uncontrollably. What? The Black Blood Hall /S Master his eyes trembled violently. He had never encountered something like this before. Just when the Black Blood Hall /S Master his heavenly Tao energy was being devoured, the entire Sirius Star /S heavenly Tao trembled. Countless cultivators sensed it and their expressions changed drastically. The heavenly Tao is reacting. What? What /S going on? What? Why am I suddenly feeling afraid? No, this ISN /T my emotions. It /S the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao was the order of a star /S operation. It was the combination of the star /S will and the will of all living beings. It rarely caused any major disturbances. Now, countless cultivators could sense that the heavenly Tao was trembling. Vaguely they could feel a wave of panic. It was not because of their panic. It was the heavenly Tao /His panic. The heavenly Tao was afraid. All the cultivators could not help but look at the sky. At that moment, the sky had already changed drastically. Torrential rain poured down and lightning flashed continuously. An unprecedented change had enveloped the entire Sirius star. The weather is about to change. Some cultivators who were proficient in the Tao of divination looked in the direction of the sky snow mountain and could not help but tremble. Chapter 896. On the Sky Snow Mountain. Chu Kuangren grabbed the Black Blood Hall Master and used the heaven-snatching technique in devouring divine Taoist art to absorb the Sirius star's heavenly Tao. He could clearly feel that the heavenly Tao's power within his body was growing, and the firmament star's heavenly Tao was cheering. It's a success. The firmament star's heavenly Tao has absorbed part of the origin of heavenly Tao from the base star and the blood source star's heavenly Tao. It's not much weaker than the Sirius star's heavenly Tao. With me as the medium, it's a success. A hint of joy flashed across Chu Kuangren's eyes. Meanwhile, the Black Blood Hall Master felt the heavenly Tao's power continuously draining from his body and fell into a panic. He frantically tried to break free from Chu Kuangren. However, Chu Kuangren's physical strength was terrifyingly strong. Coupled with the devouring divine Taoist art's effect on the celestial lord who was in the unification Taoist state, it was not easy for him to break free. Chu Kuangren even went up and gave him a few punches when he saw that he was not being honest. The armor on his body was smashed into pieces. He then easily broke his limbs so that he could only lie on the ground obediently and let his heavenly Tao's power be devoured. The spectators were dumbfounded. They did not know what the Black Blood Hall Master was facing. All they saw was that the battle had taken a turn for the worse. At first, they thought that the Black Blood Hall Master would be able to suppress Chu Kuangren with his heavenly Tao's power. However, they did not expect that not only would he not be able to suppress Chu Kuangren, he would also be defeated in a few moves. He was no longer as powerful as he was before. What are you doing? The Black Blood Hall Master looked at Chu Kuangren in horror. As the king of assassins, he rarely felt fear. Most of the time he was the one who saw others fear him. However, he was now truly afraid. An unprecedented fear had enveloped him. Chu Kuangren did not answer the Black Blood Hall Master. Suddenly, a large number of dark clouds gathered above his head. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the dark clouds. The majestic power of lightning surged and enveloped the entire Sirius star. Then, a huge blood-red eye that was filled with murderous intent appeared in the dark cloud vortex. This is the eye of heavenly punishment. Li family elder swallowed his saliva and said. Although he was the master of the heavenly law and his fate was no longer under the jurisdiction of the heavenly law, he still shuddered at the sight of this terrifying eye of heavenly punishment. What exactly did this fellow do to actually make the heaven Tao so furious that it directly opened the eye of heavenly tribulation? This is the most terrifying heavenly tribulation since the ancient times. This is the power of the heavens when it wants to kill a certain existence. Li family ancestor's voice was trembling. All the experts on Sirius saw the eye of heaven punishment. Everyone was shocked. To some of the younger Tao lords, the eye of heavenly tribulation only existed in legends. While Chu Kuangren was devouring the heavenly Tao, he looked at the eye of heavenly punishment in the sky and chuckled. You finally can't sit still anymore. He wasn't surprised by the appearance of the eye of heavenly tribulation. After all, even a fish that was placed on the chopping block would struggle, let alone the heaven Tao. However, no matter how much the fish on the chopping block struggled, it could not escape death. The Sirius star's heavenly Tao was being stared at by him, so it could only be devoured obediently. Die. An extremely cold voice came from the Eye of Heavenly Punishment. An unprecedented heavenly Tao's killing intent shrouded Chu Kuangren's body, and a thick blood-colored thunderbolt struck down from the sky. Chu Kuangren stood his ground and did not dodge. His mind power circulated, and thousands of spiritual power weapons were unleashed. Amidst the explosion, the thunderbolt and the weapons collided, and a large portion of the void collapsed. The Eye of Heavenly Punishment was extremely powerful, and the spiritual power weapons paled in comparison. Many blood-colored thunderbolts landed on Chu Kuangren's body. However, they were easily blocked by the Heavenly Tao weapon and Starlight Immortal Physique. They could not hurt him at all. Heavenly Tao, is this all you've got? Chu Kuangren stood proudly and laughed maniacally as he looked at the Eye of Heavenly Punishment. The experts on the Sirius star could not help but tremble violently. This person was fighting against the Heavenly Tao. As if enraged, the Eye of Heavenly Punishment's killing intent became even more intense, and blood-colored thunderbolts continued to strike down. The power of each thunderbolt was enough to kill an ordinary Heavenly Tao master, and there were more than 10 thunderbolts striking down at the same time. This powerful force caused countless people to feel terrified. Chu Kuangren stood proudly with his white robe fluttering in the wind, his emperor's qi circulating, and his Taoist patterns radiating. He was like an inviolable immortal. Good one. He let out a long roar and channeled his emperor's qi to its limit. With a single thought, all shall be silent, and the heavens and earth shall perish. The phoenix flames, immortal physique's frosty qi, ultimate emperor's qi, and Taoist patterns intertwined and turned into a purplish-red light wave that continuously spread out. The light wave and blood-colored thunderbolts collided one after another. The ground around them crumbled. The entire Sirius star shook, and countless living beings died in this tremor. When the heavens were enraged, hundreds of millions of corpses would be laid to the ground. Everyone's attention was on this battle between man and the heavens. The light wave and the thunderbolts dissipated. However, the result shocked everyone. Chu Kuangren stood still in his white robe, and the attack that was powerful enough to kill dozens of Heavenly Tao masters still could not do anything to him. Boom, boom, in the sky, the blood-colored thunderbolts around the Eye of Heavenly Punishment flowed and formed into a giant blood-colored thunderbolt sword that slashed down. Chu Kuangren still did not retreat. The 10,000 Taoist avatar gathered and unleashed a punch. The fist energy disintegrated part of the thunderbolt sword's power. Then he activated the ultimate reversal technique to disintegrate another part of the thunderbolt's power. The remaining half of the thunderbolt's power blasted towards him. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. With a single thought, all techniques shall perish. An invisible mind power vortex spun. The remaining half of the thunderbolt's power was then reduced by half. Chu Kuangren endured the remaining half of the thunderbolt's power, and the Taoist patterns on his heavenly weapon gradually crumbled. The thunderbolt's power crazily attacked his starlight immortal physique, causing his flesh and bones to crackle. It feels all right. Chu Kuangren cracked his neck. His defensive power was too terrifying. Coupled with his immortal body, even the Heavenly Tao's strongest heavenly punishment couldn't hurt him. You're always the one attacking. This won't do. It's my turn this time. Chu Kuangren took a step forward. Above his head, 2 Taoist testimonial seals floated into the air, and the Heavenly Tao's power that had grown considerably within his body erupted. Honorable Emperor Sword Art. Chu Kuangren's Emperor avatar suddenly materialized. Holding the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, he let out a maniacal laugh and unleashed a golden sword shadow towards the Eye of Heavenly Punishment. That sword attack tore through the void like a hot knife through butter. Accompanied by a loud bang, that sword attack forcefully landed on the Eye of Heavenly Punishment. Crack, crack, the sky split open. The Eye of Heavenly Punishment shattered, turning into a rain of blood that rained down from the sky. All the strong cultivators were dumbfounded at the sight. The Heavenly Tao has been defeated. Oh my God, how can the poetic sword sage be this strong? He can actually defeat the Heavenly Tao. Chu Kuangren stood with his hands behind his back. The Taoist testimonial seal above his head shone brightly as he looked at the sky full of blood and sneered. Heavens, that's all there is to it? Chapter 897. Chu Kuangren had single-handedly defeated the heavens. His tyrannical strength had completely subdued everyone present. The name of Poetic Sword Fairy would be imprinted in their minds for a long time to come. After destroying the Eye of Heavenly Punishment, The heavenly Tao's power of the heavenly Tao was quickly absorbed by the firmament's heavenly Tao under the effect of the engulfing divine Taoist art. The strong cultivators of the Sirius star sensed something. They were all horrified. The heavenly Tao has disappeared. The heavenly Tao of the Sirius star has disappeared. From now on, the heavenly Tao of the Sirius star will no longer exist. It will be much more difficult for countless cultivators to attain the Tao. Poetic Sword Fairy is destroying the future of the Sirius star cultivators. How could he do this? Whoosh, whoosh, several figures rushed in front of Chu Kuangren. These people were the top cultivators of the Sirius star. Now that the heavenly Tao of the Sirius star had been devoured, they could no longer sit still. Poetic Sword Fairy, how could you devour the heavenly Tao of the Sirius star? An old man questioned. Chu Kuangren did not say a word. He only raised the descendant self-sword in his hand, the Emperor's chi circulated around his body, and the seal of authentication above his head emanated a mysterious brilliance. Endless Taoist patterns spread and powerful fluctuations swept out. He unleashed a sword strike. A golden sword shadow formed, and the questioning old man's pupils shrank. He was sliced in half without any resistance. A mist of blood exploded, and the scene fell into dead silence. Does anyone else have any objections? Chu Kuangren's gaze swept across the crowd. A chill ran down everyone's spine. It was too terrifying. He killed a heavenly Tao master in one move. How could he be a great Tao master with such strength? It was unbelievable. No one dared to object. Seeing that no one dared to speak, Chu Kuangren then looked at the Black Blood Hall master not far away and slashed out with his sword, killing him. However, it was just a clone. His real body was still hiding somewhere on the Sirius star. However, he had already devoured the heavenly Tao of the Sirius star, so the Black Blood Hall master was no longer a threat to him. Of course, he did not plan to let him go either. Bring me to the Black Blood Hall headquarters. Chu Kuangren looked at the surviving gold-masked assassin and said, "These people did not dare to disobey." Very soon, Chu Kuangren arrived at a secluded mountain range in the Sirius star. There were countless restrictions and formations set up there, and at first glance, it looked like an ordinary mountain range. One would never imagine that this place was the headquarters of the famous Black Blood Gang, with countless assassins lurking around. Upon Chu Kuangren's arrival, his domineering aura swept across the entire mountain range like a raging tidal wave. Under the activation of the Emperor's chi, the entire mountain range shook violently. All seals and formations were easily destroyed. Countless assassins rushed out from their hiding places. As if they had long anticipated Chu Kuangren's arrival, a group of black-robed cultivators charged towards him from all directions. Chu Kuangren's eyes flashed. Oh, interesting. I can't believe there are still people who dare to attack me. This is a death warrior. Chu Kuangren's eyes flashed as he determined the identity of these people. Death warriors were people who did not fear death. Scarier than killers. Assassins would still fear death and think about benefits, but death warriors would obey their master's orders. Even if they were to die, they would not complain. The group of black-robed cultivators were the death warriors nurtured by the Black Blood Hall master. A bunch of sad fellows. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. His white robe was otherworldly as Taoist patterns and Emperor's chi circulated around his body. With a single thought, circles of light waves spread out, and the majestic force killed the death warriors one by one, turning them into a rain of blood. At that moment, a pillar of light shot up into the sky from the depths of the mountain range. Chu Kuangren's figure flashed and arrived at the depths of the mountain range. He saw a high platform with Taoist patterns circulating on it, and the light was gradually fading away. Oh, this is a teleportation formation. Chu Kuangren could determine the purpose of this high platform with just a glance. It was obvious that the Black Blood Hall master had used this teleportation formation to escape, and the death warriors were only there to delay him. There were a few assassins beside the teleportation formation. He raised his hand and grabbed an assassin by the neck. "Where does this teleportation array lead to?" he asked indifferently. The assassin did not dare to hide anything. "It goes to the disordered star ocean." The disordered star ocean? Chu Kuangren was deep in thought. He had heard of this place before when he was in Mystic Moon City. The disordered star ocean, as the name suggested, was the most chaotic place in the purple gold galaxy. Bandits ran rampant there and it was a land of chaos. What's the Black Blood Hall master doing there? Why is there a teleportation formation here that leads to the disordered star ocean? Chu Kuangren asked. The Hall master is good friends with the Sky Wind Bandit from the disordered star ocean. He has set up a teleportation formation here for them to meet. Oh. Chu Kuangren's interest was piqued. The Sky Wind Bandit was the king of bandits in the disordered Star Ocean. Rumor had it that this person was the king of bandits in the disordered Star Ocean. Even immortal civilizations like the Purple Gold Galaxy dared to rob them there. One is the king of bandits and the other is the king of assassins. These two mafia leaders of the Purple Gold Galaxy are quite compatible. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Then he raised his hand and killed all the assassins there before he looted the Black Blood Hall without restraint. The Black Blood Hall master had escaped in a hurry, so he did not take the Black Blood Hall's wealth with him. Once I'm done with the matters on the Sirius Star, my next stop will be the chaotic Star Ocean. I'll get rid of the Black Blood Hall master once and for all. Chu Kuangren muttered. Back at the Heavenly Snow Mountain Range, Li family elder and the others had already dealt with the aftermath. Meanwhile, the Li family's elder had also heard about Chu Kuangren from Li Xuan. When he saw that Chu Kuangren had returned, he had a complicated look in his eyes. On the one hand, it helped the Li family, and on the other hand, it devoured the heavenly Tao of Sirius. Many thanks for your help, fellow Taoist Chu. Chu Kuangren could even devour the heavenly Tao now. If the Li family wanted to regain their former glory, they could only rely on Chu Kuangren now. I'll treat your injuries when we get back. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and said. He needed the Li family to manage the Sirius Star for him, and the Li family needed an expert to oversee it. After recovering from his injuries, the Li family's patriarch, who had returned to his peak, was undoubtedly the most suitable. Thank you. Elder Li's face was filled with joy. Everyone returned to the Li family. Not long after, the scattered disciples of the Li family returned one by one. In the courtyard of the Li family. It's all thanks to Brother Chu that the Li family can survive this crisis. Li Xuan cupped her fists and said to Chu Kuangren. Just remember our deal. Chu Kuangren said. Of course. Li Xuan nodded. In fact, it made no difference whether she agreed or not. Chu Kuangren could easily destroy the Li family and then establish another force on the Sirius Star. The result would be the same anyway. No one on the Sirius Star could stop him now. I'll stay on the Sirius Star for a while. During this time, I want the Sirius Star to have only one voice, Chu Kuangren said. He said it calmly and indifferently. However, the Li Xuan and Li Xuefei sisters were speechless. Chu Kuangren was planning to unify the entire Sirius Star. And the Li family was Chu Kuangren's puppet. We understand. The Li sisters nodded. They were a little excited. A puppet was a puppet. If they could unify the Sirius Star, the Li family would have a more glorious future. Not every force was qualified to be Chu Kuangren's puppet. After the Black Blood Syndicate was destroyed, the Li family quickly expanded outwards. With Chu Kuangren's treatment, the Li family's patriarch had recovered from his injuries. With the help of a late-stage Sky Lord and Chu Kuangren, who had devoured the Sirius Star's heavenly Tao, there was almost no resistance. Soon, all the Emperor-level orthodoxies on the Sirius Star were under the Li family's control. When everything was almost done, Chu Kuangren left the Sirius Star and headed to the astral disarray alone. According to legend, there was no order in that chaotic land. Chapter 898. In space, Chu Kuangren was heading towards the astral disorder ocean. At the same time, he was also taking stock of the various gains he had gained in the chaotic astral sea. Other than the celestial techniques, the Li clan's forbidden technique, and the wealth of the Black Blood Tower, the greatest gain was naturally the heavenly way of the Sirius Star. Over the past few days, the firmament star's heavenly Tao had been constantly digesting the Sirius Star's heavenly Tao, and the heavenly Tao within Chu Kuangren's body had also been growing stronger. This would allow him to become even more powerful in the unification Tao state in the future. Of course, that wasn't the biggest benefit. The strengthening of the firmament star's heavenly axiom would ultimately benefit the billions of living beings in the firmament star. Their cultivation would be much easier than before. This was something that would benefit the entire civilization. This trip to the Sirius Star has been fruitful. I wonder what kind of surprise the disordered astral ocean will give me this time. Chu Kuangren looked into the distance and said expectantly. According to the voyage, it would take some time for them to reach the chaotic astral sea. Chu Kuangren used this period of time to cultivate. He was comprehending the various immortal spells that he had learned. The celestial method was a method created by a celestial. Only the immortal energy of an immortal could fully unleash its power. Other than that, even a hollow immortal would not be able to fully unleash the power of an immortal art. Immortal energy is the power of immortals. Those below the immortal realm cannot control it. However, through the celestial method, one can comprehend the origin. Once one controls the complete origin power, it will be the day one condenses celestial core power and becomes an immortal. Chu Kuangren's 3 souls continued to gain insights into the immortal techniques. There were countless mysterious Tao patterns circulating around his body. It is indeed difficult. Chu Kuangren slowly opened his eyes. It was not easy to master the origin power through immortal methods. Even a first-rank immortal seed could not do it. Even with Chu Kuangren's talent, he could not do it in a short time. If immortal spells alone won't work, what about immortal physique? Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up as he thought of something. He activated the moon immortal physique and used the immortal art to comprehend the power of origin. Soon, his consciousness gradually left his body. He once again entered the strange origin world. Within the origin world, Chu Kuangren's consciousness was wandering. Not long after, he arrived in front of an ice mountain. Unlike the other rapidly changing scenes, this ice mountain was clear and stable. Is it because of the immortal body? Sure enough, an immortal physique is helpful in comprehending the origin. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. He observed the ice mountain in front of him, trying to comprehend the origin within it. Not long after, Chu Kuangren opened his eyes, and his consciousness detached from the origin world. He opened his palm, and a chilling qi circulated in the center of his palm. That was no ordinary cold qi. Instead, it was the source energy of the cold Tao. With a thought, Chu Kuangren's lunar radiance origin power emerged as well. The 2 surges of origin power swirled around him with a dazzling brilliance that illuminated the world, making him look like an immortal. Unfortunately, no one saw this. Otherwise, they couldn't help but gasp in surprise. 2 strands of origin energy, but what is this strange feeling? It was supposed to be a joyous occasion that he managed to refine another surge of origin energy, but Chu Kuangren could not help but frown. Regardless of whether it was the moonlight origin or the cold Tao origin, they were both able to greatly enhance his battle prowess. However, he could sense that, although these 2 essences were powerful, there was something that he couldn't quite put his finger on. Chu Kuangren looked at the origin energy in his hand and fell into deep thought. In the end, his eyes revealed a wisp of understanding. I see. The moonlight source and the frigid Tao source can indeed provide me with quite a bit of support. However, these 2 types of source are not my source energy. I must walk my own Tao and realize my own origin. My Tao is the Tao of self-improvement and invincibility. Then what is my origin? Chu Kuangren murmured. He closed his eyes and tried to realize his own Tao. Using his immortal physique, his consciousness once again entered the origin world. He wanted to use his Tao to find the origin that belonged to him. However, a long time had passed and he found nothing. In the origin world, he saw countless images of the origin energy flashing before his eyes, but none of the origin energy resonated with his Tao. This puzzled him. Every Tao had a corresponding origin. While his consciousness was wandering in the origin world, he even saw the immortal origin universal cauldron physique, and godly phoenix physique that corresponded to the immortal origin, devouring origin, and flame origin. However, he still could not find the origin that corresponded to his Tao. His Tao did not have a corresponding origin? Did that not mean his path of cultivation had come to an end? At that thought, the bolder Taoist core that he had cultivated for many years could not help but tremble. For the first time he felt terrified. No, this is impossible. How can this be? Do I have to give up on my Tao and walk another path to continue my cultivation? Then what about all my cultivation so far? Chu Kuangren fell into self-doubt. Or rather, a demonic hindrance. Chu Kuangren, who could face all kinds of strong enemies with ease, was facing a true cultivation crisis for the first time. If he could not overcome this demonic hindrance, he would suffer from qi deviation and would never be able to advance any further. If it was serious, he would die. In the past, Chu Kuangren had the bolder Taoist core so he could remain calm no matter what he encountered. He had never encountered a demonic hindrance. This was the first time. Even the bolder Taoist core was useless now. 10 days passed. Chu Kuangren let the warship drift in the universe. He sat alone on the deck of the warship, struggling with the demonic hindrance. Suddenly Chu Kuangren let out a chuckle. He slowly stood up and looked at the vast starry sky. Suddenly, a terrifying aura erupted from his body, causing the stars to tremble. My Tao is the Tao of self-improvement and invincibility. My goal is not to become an immortal, but to become invincible. I want to continuously surpass myself and surpass my limits. So what if I don't have a corresponding origin? Then I shall create an origin that belongs to me, with myself as the origin. Chu Kuangren's heart became more determined. He had overcome the demonic hindrance. At that moment, his bolder Taoist core had undergone a transformation. His originally indestructible Taoist core had completed a sublimation. From then on, nothing and nothing could shake him. At that moment, a throbbing sound came from the depths of the universe. That was the great Taoist will of the universe sensing the transformation of Chu Kuangren's Taoist core, and this transformation had reached a certain domain. In the universe, countless strong cultivators from countless galaxies sensed it. It's the extreme boundary. Someone has entered the extreme boundary. Who is it? The extreme boundary? What does it mean to enter the extreme boundary? Is it Tao or technique? Could it be the Taoist core? Chu Kuangren did not know that after he had overcome the demonic hindrance, his Taoist core had entered the extreme boundary that even immortals dreamed of. After overcoming the demonic hindrance, Chu Kuangren continued to gain insights into the origin. After using the immortal physique to gain insights into the frost chi origin, Chu Kuangren tried using other physiques that were as strong as the immortal physique to gain insights into the origin. After realizing that it was feasible, he began to gain insights into other origins. If other cultivators were to find out about this, they would be extremely shocked. The origin was difficult to gain insights into. Even the immortal seed would not be able to gain any insights even after spending an endless amount of effort. However, Chu Kuangren could easily gain insights into the origin by using different physiques. Chapter 899. The flame origin is done. Chu Kuangren opened his palm, revealing a ball of golden red flames. That was the flame origin that he had learned from the godly phoenix physique. Unlike ordinary fire origin power, this fire origin power was wild and aggressive. This was the flames of the divine phoenix. Perhaps it would be more appropriate to call it the godly phoenix flame origin. Even if it was the same origin, there would still be subtle differences due to different cultivation techniques, people, Taoism, or other conditions. The godly phoenix physique's flame origin was obviously stronger than the flame origin that ordinary cultivators could learn. In addition to the moonlight origin, frost origin, and devouring origin that I previously learned, I now have 4 origin powers. Chu Kuangren murmured and smiled in satisfaction. The immortal physique is comparable to the immortal physique. It won't take long for me to learn the immortal origin. It's a shame that the other physiques aren't immortal physiques. Learning the origin through these physiques is 1,000 times more difficult than learning the immortal techniques. Chu Kuangren shook his head. Perhaps he could find the immortal techniques that corresponded with these physiques and combine them with the immortal techniques to learn the corresponding origin powers. But not now. Learning the origin powers through physiques. Perhaps this is the mystery of the Book of Physique. Chu Kuangren thought to himself. Aside from the Spirit of Omniscience and the Lucky Halo, the remaining 2 supreme God-grade items, the Book of Physique and the Time-Space Mirror, still had many mysteries that he had yet to fully understand. It was worth his time to continue studying them. Boom, boom. At that moment, a few energy beams blasted towards them from afar. The beams blasted onto the warship's defensive light barrier. Chu Kuangren squinted his eyes and looked towards the source of the energy beams. He saw a few warships flying towards them. On those warships were cultivators of different races. There were beasts and humans. Interstellar bandits? Chu Kuangren could tell who they were. It seemed that he had entered the disordered galaxy's territory. Kid, this is the frenzied sand bandits' territory. If you want to live, leave your valuables behind. One of the bandits on one of the warships said loudly. Chu Kuangren did not reply. With a flick of his mind power, tens of thousands of spiritual weapons gathered and floated in the starry sky. Then with a boom they shot toward the crowd. Bang bang bang, as the spirit force weapons fell, the battleships exploded one after another. The galactic bandits didn't even have time to react to what had happened. *CK. This is a tough nut to crack. Quick run. Go back and inform the boss. The expressions of the interstellar pirates changed drastically. Following that, a few battleships turned around and left. Chu Kuangren did not continue to chase after them. Instead, he captured a few bandits. Sir, please spare my life. We had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Sir, please spare us. Just treat us as farts and let us go. A few bandits knelt in front of Chu Kuangren, kowtowing and begging for mercy. It's not impossible for me to spare you. First, tell me about the situation in the chaotic Star Sea and what forces there are. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The bandits looked at each other in dismay. Then they spilled everything they knew in exchange for a chance to live. In the chaotic astral ocean there were countless bandits. However, there were only 3 that truly occupied the leading positions. They were the Skywind Bandits, the Wild Sand Bandits, and the Fire Devil Bandits. The ones who came to rob Chu Kuangren this time were the Frenzied Sand Bandits. However, they were just ordinary bandits from the Wild Sand Bandits. Among the 3 major bandit forces, the Skywind Bandits were the strongest. Their leader, the Skywind Bandit King, was also known as the Bandit King. The other 2 major bandit forces had to work together to fight against him. "Have you heard of the Black Blood Hall Master?" Chu Kuangren asked. "I've heard of him. He's the king of assassins. He's very famous." "I heard that he's a top-notch heavenly Dao master," one of the bandits said. "Do you guys know that he's recently come to the chaotic astral ocean?" "I'm not sure about that." Chu Kuangren looked at the uneasy bandits in front of him with a thoughtful look in his eyes. It was as if he was plotting something. "Kid, let my people go and hand over the money. If you do that, I'll grant you a quick death." At that moment, a cold voice suddenly rang out. A bandit clad in armor and wielding a long spear rushed up and stared coldly at Chu Kuangren. "Third leader. It's the third leader." The few bandits who were captured by Chu Kuangren were overjoyed. Upon seeing that, Chu Kuangren glanced at the third leader. The man's cultivation level was not bad. He was a peak Taoist master, but his combat strength was no match for Chu Kuangren's. "Third leader, you might have some power," Chu Kuangren murmured. The third leader frowned. He did not know what Chu Kuangren meant, but he snorted coldly and rushed out with his long spear. With a thrust of his long spear, a large amount of Emperor's Qi in Taoist patterns gushed out. Chu Kuangren gently raised his hand. Boom. The Emperor's Qi in Taoist patterns were instantly shattered into pieces. Chu Kuangren then grabbed the long spear in his hand. With a tug, the third leader lost control of his body and flew forward. What terrifying strength! The third leader's expression changed. In the next second, a fist enlarged in front of his eyes. With a bang, third head's face was smashed by this punch. His nose was crooked and his eyes were slanted. His entire face almost caved in. Before he could even scream, the third leader had already fallen to the ground. His eyes rolled back and he fainted. The bandits around him were dumbfounded. That was the third leader of the Frenzied Sand Bandits. How could a Taoist master be knocked out with a single punch? Were they dreaming? After Chu Kuangren knocked out the third leader with a punch, he stepped on his head and said to the rest of the bandits, "Go back and tell your boss that if he wants to keep his life, he should come find me here." The bandits looked at each other. What's going on? Not running away but asking their leader to look for him? However, since Chu Kuangren had said so, they would not let go of this chance to live. Hence, they scrambled out of the place. In the Frenzied Sand Bandits' territory, the leader of the Frenzied Sand Bandits, the Frenzied Sand Bandit King, was currently hugging a few voluptuous beauties and groping them. In front of him were boxes of spirit marrow treasures. These were all things that he had just snatched back. Leader, something's wrong. Something's happened to the third leader." At that moment, a bandit rushed in and said anxiously. The Frenzied Sand Bandit King frowned. "What happened?" The bandit then told him everything that happened to Chu Kuangren. "Oh, he injured the third leader and still wants me to look for him. What's his background?" The Frenzied Sand Bandit King was puzzled. Next to him, a man carrying a giant axe sneered. "Perhaps it's another young prodigy who came from God knows where to gain experience here, using the slogan of getting rid of the scourge of the people as an excuse to step on us." This person was the Frenzied Sand Bandit's second in command. What he said wasn't something rare either. The disordered Star Ocean was filled with bandits and was extremely dangerous. It would often become a training ground for the newly born Sky Prides. Some of the arrogant Sky Prides also wanted to kill a few famous bandits here to make a name for themselves. Unfortunately, most of these people were leaks for the Frenzied Sand Bandits. But this time even the third leader was no match for him. It looks like he's not an ordinary Sky Pride. I'm afraid he's an immortal seed. That's even better. Let's tie him up. This way we can exchange quite a lot of spirit marrow treasures from the forces behind him. The second in command laughed. In the disordered Star Ocean they were not afraid of anyone. Even forces like the Purple Star and Gold Star would have to avoid them. Alright, let's go have a look then. I'd like to see who's so daring. The Frenzied Sand Bandit King nodded. Chapter 900. Chaos Astral Sea. Somewhere in the starry sky, Chu Kuangren was sitting with his legs crossed, quietly waiting for the frenzied Sand Pirate King and the others. Beside him, the third elder leader who had been knocked out by Chu Kuangren slowly regained consciousness. He looked around in confusion before he seemed to have thought of something and looked at Chu Kuangren, who was not too far away. Who was this person? He didn't even have the strength to fight back. Could it be a master of the heavenly law? He stared at Chu Kuangren suspiciously. Who are you? Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren said calmly. He had some matters to settle with the frenzied sand bandits, so he did not need to hide his identity. Chu Kuangren. Upon hearing that name, the third elder's pupils shrank slightly. He stared at Chu Kuangren with an obvious look of shock in his eyes. Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren. Evidently, even though he was in the chaotic star ocean, he still knew about the famous poetic sword god. Exactly. What are you doing in the chaotic astral sea? You'll know soon enough. Chu Kuangren did not explain too much. Suddenly, he sensed several powerful auras rushing toward him from nearby. There were even 2 heavenly law lords among them. The frenzied sand bandits have quite a strong foundation. I can't believe they have 2 heavenly Taoist masters in their ranks. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up as he said. In the purple gold galaxy, the Lord of the Heaven Law was already one of the strongest experts. Hundreds of warships flew over and surrounded the place where Chu Kuangren was. The 2 people leading them were the heavenly Tao masters that Chu Kuangren had sensed earlier. They were also the leader and second in command of the frenzied sand bandits. Big brother, second brother, this person is the poetic sword god Chu Kuangren. The third in command activated his emperor's thought and sent a voice transmission to the frenzied sand pirate king. Chu Kuangren naturally noticed his little trick, but he did not care. On the other hand, the pupils of the frenzied sand pirate king and the second head shrank slightly when they heard this. Their faces immediately turned solemn. Poetic sword god, it's actually him. Rumor has it that this person could kill the Lord of the Heavenly Law. He killed 4 lords of the Heavenly Law in the Battle of Xinhua Ancient City. His combat power is extremely terrifying. This is troublesome. Both of them arrived in the air above Chu Kuangren. Based on their personalities, they would have attacked immediately to take down this person who had offended them. However, when they heard that it was Chu Kuangren, they did not dare to act rashly. What brings the poetic sword celestial to the chaos astral sea? Frenzied Sand Pirate King asked. Cooperate. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Everyone was stunned when they heard that. Cooperation? How could they cooperate with the poetic sword fairy? Poetic sword fairy, please clarify. I want to unite all the bandits in the disordered astral ocean and make them work for me. It's too troublesome to do it step by step, so I might as well work with the frenzied sand bandits directly, Chu Kuangren said calmly. Does the poetic sword celestial mean to cooperate with us to unify the chaos star ocean? The frenzied sand pirate king was taken aback. Yes. What is your purpose in doing this? Destroy Purple Star. Chu Kuangren said bluntly. Not bad. He had thought about it on the way here. Destroying the entire Purple Star civilization was not a simple task, so he needed help. The countless bandits of the chaotic star ocean were a force that could not be underestimated, and if they could be united, even Purple Star would have to fear them. What? He wants to destroy Purple Star? I heard that Chu Kuangren has a feud with Purple Star. He once challenged Purple Star, but I didn't expect him to be this crazy. It can't be. Purple Star isn't something that can be destroyed so easily. Everyone was discussing among themselves. They were all shocked by Chu Kuangren. The frenzied sand pirate king pondered for a while. Destroying Purple Star is too far-fetched. We won't do it. I suggest you look for other forces. Now please let my third brother go. When I find you, do you think you have any other choice? Chu Kuangren chuckled. The frenzied sand pirate king's expression changed. Poetic sword fairy, what do you mean? Are you trying to force us? You have 2 choices. Chu Kuangren raised 2 fingers and said, 1. Cooperate with me. I'll help you become the ruler of the Chaos Star Ocean. After destroying Purple Star, you can bring Purple Star's wealth back here. 2. Chu Kuangren smiled coldly. I'll destroy all the frenzied sand pirates here, then I'll look for others. The frenzied sand pirate king's expression turned ugly. Was Chu Kuangren cooperating with them? What kind of cooperation was that? Chu Kuangren, don't you dare go too far. The frenzied sand pirate king's expression turned gloomy. So what if I do? Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Alright, Chu Kuangren. It's not like I can't cooperate with you. As long as you can defeat me, I'll do whatever you want. The frenzied sand pirate king knew that a battle was destined to happen today. He took a step forward and took out a long spear. There were mysterious yellow light patterns circulating on the spear. It was a heavenly weapon. You should have done this a long time ago, Chu Kuangren said. He leaped into the air and said, "It's not difficult to defeat you. Both of you come at me together." The other person was naturally the other Sky Lord. Arrogant. The frenzied sand pirate second-in-command snorted. In a flash, he appeared above Chu Kuangren and swung the giant axe in his hand. The axe was so powerful that it could even split the stars in half. However, Chu Kuangren did not retreat. Instead, he slowly reached out and grabbed the blade of the axe with his jade-white palm. Boom. A shockwave rolled out. Chu Kuangren's body did not move an inch. The axe was easily caught in his hand. "Is this all you've got, frenzied sand pirate second-in-command?" Chu Kuangren said with a hint of mockery in his eyes. D****. The second-in-command's expression darkened. He had pushed his emperor's qi to its limit. There were Taoist patterns circulating on the blade of the axe, but it still could not hurt Chu Kuangren. At that moment, the frenzied sand pirate king also made his move. He was much stronger than the second-in-command and was very close to becoming a Sky Lord. With a thrust of the spear, a large amount of flames wrapped around the spear and turned into a ferocious fiery python. Chu Kuangren exerted strength in his arm and flung the second-in-command away. Then he cast an immortal technique. Rise with a thought. With a thought, the myriad frosty mist was unleashed. The immortal physique's frosty chi roared out, and within the frosty chi there was even frost origin energy. The giant fiery python was instantly frozen. The frenzied sand pirate king was hit by the frosty chi. Although he blocked it with his flames in time, a layer of frost still formed on his body. What a terrifying frosty chi! Is this the true strength of the poetic sword sage? The frenzied sand pirate king's expression changed slightly. He let out a long roar, and a large amount of flames burst out from his body, illuminating the entire universe. Amazing Empyrean fiery dragon. The flames turned into a dancing fiery dragon in mid-air. The fiery dragon roared and its aura shook the universe. Then it swooped down towards Chu Kuangren. Not far away, the second-in-command who was flung away steadied himself. With a roar, he raised his giant axe high and swung it down. The giant axe shadow came crashing down on Chu Kuangren. Two powerful attacks, one from the front and the other from the back, were coming at him. Chu Kuangren stood with his hands behind his back. His white robe was peerless, and there were Taoist patterns circulating on his body. Facing the attacks, he looked calm as if he did not care at all. Rise with a thought, all shall be silent, heaven and earth shall die. The phoenix flames, frosty chi and emperor's chi erupted at the same time, turning into purplish-red light waves that spread outwards. The axe shadow was shattered, and the fiery dragon disappeared. The frenzied sand pirate king and the second-in-command suffered the impact and were sent flying while spitting out blood. Chapter 901. The frenzied sand pirate king and the second-in-command spat out mouthfuls of blood under the impact of the purplish-red light wave. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, stood in the air, his aura still as calm as ever. All the frenzy sand bandits could not help but gasp. Too powerful. That's right. This is the strength of the poetic sword immortal. Even the combined forces of the big boss and the second head were no match for him. They were defeated in one move. Terrifying, Chu Kuangren stood still on the spot. His white robe was otherworldly as the purplish-red light gradually dissipated. He looked at the frenzied sand bandit king and his companion calmly. It was as if defeating two heavenly law lords was nothing to him. As a matter of fact, that was the case. We are convinced. From now on, you will be the leader of the Wild Sand Bandits. Wild Sand Pirate King took a deep breath and said. In such a situation they had no choice but to give in. If Chu Kuangren wanted to kill them, it would be as easy as crushing ants. A wise move. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then he said, get ready. Take me to the fiery demon thief king and subdue him. Where is the heavenly wind thief king? Frenzied sand pirate king said. As the leader of the three great thief kings, the heavenly wind thief king's influence was the strongest, even stronger than the other two thief kings combined. After subduing the demon fire bandits, I will naturally look for him. If he is sensible, he will obediently hand over the master of the Black Blood Tower. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Not long after, the frenzied sand bandit king and the second-in-command brought Chu Kuangren to the headquarters of the flaming demon bandits, the flaming demon star. Fire demon star. The fire demon thief king and a few others were drinking. Suddenly, a robber rushed in. Boss, this is bad. The Wild Sand Thief King and the others are here. Hearing this, the originally joyful atmosphere suddenly changed. Devil Fire Thief King's eyes turned cold. Crazy Sand Thief King, are these guys finally going to attack us? Boss, let's fight it out with them. Our Demon Fire Bandits are not easy to deal with either. Not bad. The Fire Demon Thief Monarch raised his hand, signaling everyone to be quiet. Then he continued to ask, how many people and warships did the Wild Sand Pirates send? The bandit replied, 1 battleship, 3 at a glance. The Fire Demon Thief King was stunned. The others also revealed looks of disbelief. 3 people? Are you kidding me? The 3 of them actually dared to come to our Fire Demon Star. Is there something wrong with the Wild Sand Pirate King's head? Or is he plotting something? What the hell are they going to do? One had to know that Fire Demon Star was the territory of Demon Fire Bandits. There were hundreds of thousands of Demon Fire Bandits here, and there were countless emperors and empyreans. Not to mention that there was a master of the heavenly law like the Fire Demon Thief King keeping watch. Only 3 Wild Sand Bandits came? Wasn't that courting death? Let's see what kind of game they're playing. The Fire Demon Thief King snorted. He brought his people out of Fire Demon Star and arrived in the Outer Realms. Here, a battleship was approaching, and hundreds of thousands of Demon Fire Bandits filled the starry sky, surrounding it tightly. There were only 3 people on the warship. After the Fire Demon Thief King arrived, he immediately saw the Wild Sand Thief King and the Wild Sand Second in command. Apart from them, standing at the front was a young man in white. His black hair reached his waist and there was a sense of transcendence about him. What surprised the Fire Devil Thief King even more was the fact that the Wild Sand Thief King and the Fire Devil Thief King were standing on the left and right side of the young man, as if they respected him. Who is this person? The Fire Demon Thief King was a little surprised. He had a hunch that the Wild Sand Thief King's sudden action was related to this young man. Wild Sand Thief King, what are you doing here all of a sudden? The Fire Demon Thief King asked his people to be on guard and then asked loudly. The Wild Sand Thief King rose into the air and said, I'm here to give you a chance. Submit to the young master and I can guarantee your life. Submit? The Fire Demon Thief King and the others were stunned. Then they looked at the Wild Sand Thief King in shock. Are you kidding me? The Wild Sand Thief King actually submitted to someone else. Who is it? Young master? Is it this young man in white? Humph, you want us Fire Demon Thieves to submit? Dream on. The Fire Demon Thief King sneered and said, I didn't expect the dignified Wild Sand Thief King to submit to someone else. You really disappoint me. The young master is someone who stands at the peak of the purple gold galaxy. Submitting to him is not something to be ashamed of. The Wild Sand Thief King said lightly, That's you. I'm me. If you want me to submit, you have to ask the hundreds of thousands of brothers behind me if they agree. The Fire Demon Thief King said coldly. Then the aura of a heavenly Tao Master erupted from his body. Like a tidal wave, it spread out and crushed towards the Wild Sand Thief King. The Wild Sand Thief King snorted coldly, and his aura also erupted. The 2 Thief Kings' auras collided, and they were equally matched. Then the Fire Demon Thief King made the first move. He took out a dark red broadsword and charged towards the Wild Sand Thief King. The Wild Sand Thief King took out his long spear and fought with his opponent. Both of their strengths were almost the same. When the broadsword and the long spear collided, it was a shocking sight. For a moment they were evenly matched. The other bandits watched from the side without making a sound. Just when the Wild Sand Thief King and the Fire Demon Thief King were evenly matched, a few leaders of the Fire Demon Thieves looked at Chu Kuangren. I wonder what kind of technique this person used to make the Wild Sand Thief King submit to him? I'm afraid he's no ordinary person. Let me test this person. One of the leaders said coldly. In a flash, his figure turned into a stream of light and flew towards Chu Kuangren. At the same time, the Heavenly Tao Master's aura erupted. Beside him, the second leader snorted coldly and rushed out as well. While the 2 Heavenly Tao Masters were locked in battle, the other leaders took this opportunity to surround Chu Kuangren. Kid, tell me your name. A burly man with a mace in his hand sneered. Chu Kuangren stood still and did not reply. Seeing him like that, the few leaders frowned. They then looked at each other and rushed towards Chu Kuangren together. All kinds of techniques were unleashed together, and all kinds of energy swept towards Chu Kuangren. Its power shook the universe. Chu Kuangren still stood still, but when those energy attacks got close to him, they disintegrated and dissipated one by one. It was as if they had encountered an invisible barrier that they could not cross. What kind of power is this? It looks like mental power. One of the knowledgeable leaders said solemnly as he sensed something. Mental power was a form of soul energy. Soul cultivators were extremely rare in the universe. There were not many of them in the entire purple gold galaxy. No matter how strong his mental power is, do you think we'll lose to him if we join forces? One of the leaders said coldly. The few of them attacked again, and this time, it was an even more powerful energy attack. You're just a bunch of cultivators who haven't even reached the heavenly Tao master level. You're all too weak. Kneel down now, Chu Kuangren said. Then he channeled his emperor's qi and mental power at the same time, intertwining with the Taoist patterns to form a mini-realm that completely enveloped the few leaders. Under the influence of the mini-realm, the few leaders were like ordinary people who were stuck in a quagmire. It was difficult for them to move. Then, spiritual weapons gathered in the void and pinned the few leaders to the ground. From the beginning to the end, Chu Kuangren did not even look at them. However, the strength that Xiaoqin displayed with every move made many demon fire bandits suck in a breath of cold air, greatly startled. Chapter 902. What a powerful force. I can't believe a few of our leaders were defeated so easily. This is definitely the strength of a heavenly lord. He's. Suddenly one of the fiery bandits' eyes trembled violently. I remember now. This person is the Purple Star Bounty's Chu Kuangren. What? Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren. Someone could not help but exclaim. Chu Kuangren's identity was exposed, and the leaders could not help but be shocked. Not far away, the fiery bandit king gulped. No wonder the frenzied sand bandit king dared to come to the fiery bandit's base camp. It turned out that he had such a powerful being backing him up. Quick, let's attack together. The fiery bandit king roared. Instantly, hundreds of thousands of demonic fire bandits attacked together. All sorts of energies and moves surged out, gathering into a horrifying sea of energy. The aura was so strong that it shook the world. Even a heavenly lord would fall under such an attack. However, Chu Kuangren remained calm. In fact, he did not even try to hide. Instead, he walked straight towards the horrifying ocean of energy with countless mysterious Taoist patterns spreading out from his body. The Taoist patterns swirled and turned into a giant whirlpool. With a single thought, all techniques were reduced to dust. Countless energies were absorbed and dissolved by the whirlpool. Chu Kuangren was surrounded by all kinds of energy lights, emitting terrifying fluctuations that could shatter the void. However, none of them could penetrate the whirlpool and hurt him at all. How can this be? What a powerful defensive technique. How can he be so powerful? The group of fiery bandits trembled violently when they saw this. They felt like their scalps were about to explode, and their hearts almost stopped beating. All of you stand down. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. As soon as he said that, a terrifying wave of Emperor's Qi swept out and attacked the fiery bandits around him. One by one, the warships were sent flying, and the fiery bandits were scattered in the starry sky by the Emperor's Qi. The poetic sword god lives up to his name. The fiery bandit king's gaze was extremely solemn. After sending the frenzied sand bandit king flying with a single slash, his figure turned into a stream of light and dashed towards Chu Kuangren. Capture their leader first. The fiery flame pirate king planned to deal with Chu Kuangren first. With a slash, a terrifying saber shadow burned with flames. The incomparably hot temperature caused the surrounding void to distort. Too weak. Chu Kuangren raised his hand and unleashed a punch. Invincible technique, reverse heaven and earth. With a loud bang, the majestic fist force shattered the saber shadow and landed directly on the fire demon thief king's body, easily sending him flying. He defeated the fire demon thief king with one punch. This is the power of the poetic sword saint. The demon fire thief king crashed into a warship, creating a huge hole in it. He lay inside, his eyes filled with shock. You've only seen the tip of the iceberg. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Allow me to ask, why did you subdue us? Destroy the purple star. The fire demon thief king's eyes lit up. He pondered for a moment before nodding. Since it's to deal with purple star, then I'm willing to join. Chu Kuangren was slightly surprised. He didn't expect the other party to be so straightforward. He thought that he was going to go on a killing spree again. Just like you, I have a grudge against Purple Star. At the mention of Purple Star, the fire demon thief king's eyes were filled with hatred. Back then, my orthodoxy offended the Purple Star sequence and was eventually annihilated by Purple Star. I had no choice but to escape into the disordered galaxy. With the help of the chaotic order here, I managed to survive Purple Star's pursuit. In the end, I founded the Fire Demon Thieves, hoping that one day, I'll have the chance to take revenge on Purple Star. Since you want to launch a crusade against Purple Star, I'm willing to help you. After listening to the Fire Demon Thief King, Chu Kuangren could not help but chuckle. This Purple Star has really offended a lot of people. He shook his head and said, "All right then, we'll pay a visit to the Skywind Bandits in a few days. I'm looking for someone." The Skywind Bandits were the strongest bandit group in the disordered galaxy. The Skywind Bandit King was also known as the Bandit King. At the mention of this person, the two bandit lords' eyes turned solemn. However, when they saw Chu Kuangren, the solemn look in their eyes disappeared. In front of Chu Kuangren, the Skywind Bandits were nothing. They even thought that Chu Kuangren alone could wipe out the entire Skywind Bandits even without them. They were probably there to cheer for him. At the Skywind Bandits' headquarters, a muscular man was drinking with a black-robed middle-aged man. "Brother Black Blood, don't be depressed anymore. Although the Black Blood gang has suffered heavy losses this time, you, the King of Assassins, are still alive. In time you'll definitely be able to rebuild the Black Blood gang." The muscular man comforted the Black Blood gang's lord. He was the Skywind Bandit King, the leader of the three great bandit lords and the ruler of the disordered galaxy. The Black Blood gang's lord's mood improved when he heard that. That's right. Although the headquarters of the Black Blood gang is gone, there are still many assassins active in the various branches. As long as I'm here, the Black Blood gang will not perish. Haha, this is the King of Assassins that I know. The Skywind Bandit King laughed. Then he thought of something and asked, "Brother Black Blood, you fought with Chu Kuangren before. Is his strength really as strong as the rumors say?" At the mention of Chu Kuangren, a rare look of fear flashed across the Black Blood gang's lord's eyes. This person's strength is definitely stronger than the rumors say. Especially his growth speed, it's shockingly fast. Tisk, if I have the chance, I'd really like to fight him. Don't, Brother Skywind. Let me give you a piece of advice. If you can avoid provoking this person, it's best not to. The Black Blood gang's lord said. Why, don't you want your revenge anymore? I do, of course I do. But it's too difficult. The Black Wind gang's lord sighed. I'm afraid it won't be long before this person truly stands at the peak of the galaxy. I'm afraid I'll never have my revenge then. It was obvious that Chu Kuangren had left a deep impression on him. Even the Sirius Star's heavenly path was defeated. What else could he do? Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's drink. The Skywind Bandit King changed the topic. Suddenly he sensed something and looked into the sky from afar. His eyes gradually turned cold. This aura, it's those two guys. The Skywind Bandit King snorted. In the sky, dozens of figures flew towards them. All of them were Tao Lords, and the two leading them were the Frenzied Sand Bandit King and the Fiery Fire Bandit King. All the Skywind Bandits were alerted. Fiery Fire Bandit, Frenzied Sand Bandit, why are they here? Humph, looks like they're not here with good intentions. The Skywind Bandit King snorted coldly before he leaped into the sky. Looking at the two bandit lords in front of him, he said coldly, "What's wrong? Fiery Fire Bandit and Frenzied Sand Bandit have joined forces to swallow us?" That's exactly what I'm thinking. The Frenzied Sand Bandit King said bluntly. You're asking for it. The Skywind Bandit King's aura suddenly exploded. His cultivation level was one level higher than the two bandit lords. He was a heavenly path master. The Black Blood gang's lord stood up and sneered at the two bandit lords. How dare you two offend my brother Skywind? You must be tired of living. Oh, what if I join as well? An indifferent voice was heard. An otherworldly figure descended from the sky. His majestic emperor's chi swept out and slammed into the void. When he saw who it was, the Black Blood gang's lord's eyes shrunk and revealed a look of fear. It's you. Chapter 903. What if I join in as well? An indifferent and cold voice sounded. Then an unimaginably majestic emperor's chi erupted and swept across the entire Skywind planet. At that moment the stars shook and the heavens and earth shook. A peerless white-robed figure had descended. The Black Blood Hall Master was instantly stunned when he saw who it was. His pupils trembled violently, revealing an obvious look of fear. It's you, Chu Kuangren? Upon hearing his voice, Chu Kuangren looked at him calmly and said, Yo, Black Blood Hall Master, how have you been? He could still greet him calmly. It was as if the person in front of him was not a mortal enemy. He was just an ordinary friend. However, the Black Blood Hall Master was terrified. He had almost walked out of the trauma, but when he saw Chu Kuangren, the fear in his heart could not help but surface again. Even if it was only a clone that died. However, that clone's consciousness was connected to his real body, so he could experience everything that happened to his clone. Especially when his opponent devoured the heavenly Tao and stripped him of his position as a Star Lord. He could not forget that feeling of helplessness. Chu Kuangren, what are you trying to do? The Black Blood Hall Master gritted his teeth and said, "What do you think? My clone was killed by you, my heavenly Tao energy was taken by you, and the Black Blood Hall is almost gone. What else do you want?" The Black Blood Hall Master yelled. The King of Assassins seemed a little wronged at that moment. Isn't uprooting the Black Blood Hall's specialty? Why is it that I'm the one bullying you now? Chu Kuangren said, amused. Beside him, the Skywind Bandit King looked at Chu Kuangren and said seriously, "Poetic Sword God Chu Kuangren, I've long heard of your name, but what are you trying to do with the Frenzied Sand Bandits and Fiery Fire Bandits? Not only them but you too, Skywind Bandit King. I can give you a chance now. Hand over the Black Blood Hall Master and surrender to me. That way you can keep your life," Chu Kuangren said. "In your dreams." The Skywind Bandit King snorted. His heavenly Tao late-stage aura erupted and a spear appeared in his hand. "Poetic Sword God, show me what you've got." Boom. The Heavenly Wind Bandit's figure instantly disappeared. In the next instant, it arrived above Chu Kuangren and smashed down with its spear. Its majestic energy was like a meteor falling from the sky. Chu Kuangren unleashed a punch. The Star Immortal body's physical strength completely erupted. Bang! The fist and the long spear collided with each other, resulting in a deafening explosion. The Skywind Bandit was pushed back a few hundred feet, and the long spear in his hand was trembling and buzzing. What terrifying physical strength! The Heavenly Wind Bandit was a little shocked. It was the first time he had seen such a terrifying physique. It was unbelievable. He raised his spear and attacked again. The long spear danced in the air, and the spear light flickered one after another. It was as if the sky was filled with stars, dazzling and dazzling. As Chu Kuangren channeled his mind power, surges of spiritual energy blades blasted out and collided with his opponent's spear lights. "Brother Tianfeng, let me help you," the master of the Black Blood Hall roared. A fierce killing intent exploded and circulated in the void, turning into a scene of massacre. Thousands of ferocious spirits howled and charged towards Chu Kuangren. "All right, Heavenly Tempest Tornado." The Heavenly Wind Bandit King roared and cooperated with the master of the Black Blood Hall. The Taoist patterns on his body circulated, and with a thrust of his spear, a terrifying windstorm erupted. Within that windstorm was the majestic spear chi that could destroy the stars. Chu Kuangren smiled. With a lift of his arm, he activated the Universal Death Technique. Circles of purplish-red light rippled outwards. Thousands of ferocious spirits and the majestic spear chi were shattered by that move. The Poetic Sword Fairy truly lives up to his name. The Heavenly Wind Bandit King said with a serious look, but his battle intent was also burning. "Be careful, he hasn't used his full strength yet." The master of the Black Blood Hall yelled. His clone had fought with Chu Kuangren before, so he knew that his opponent was a celestial master who was blessed by the heavenly Tao. Chu Kuangren had yet to use his unification Taoist mode. Who knew how many more trump cards this person had hidden? Everyone was stunned when they heard the master of the Black Blood Hall. No way. He hasn't even used his full strength? How powerful is this Poetic Sword Fairy? Is he really a great Tao master? Divine Nine Dragons Transformation. Chu Kuangren channeled his mind power and drew a giant colorful rune in the void. 9 streams of dragon chi instantly surged into his body. In an instant his aura rose steadily. "Show me how much strength you have," Chu Kuangren said to the two of them. "Good Lord, is this his true strength?" The Heavenly Wind Bandit King said solemnly. "I'm afraid, it's more than that." The master of the Black Blood Hall gulped. Chu Kuangren had yet to integrate his Taoist realm. The Heavenly Wind Bandit King was speechless. *CK, just how insane is this guy? Scene of slaughter, ghostly king's form. The master of the Black Blood Hall pushed his emperor's chi and Taoist Tao to their limits, and a ghostly king with 3 heads and 6 arms was formed. Chu Kuangren raised his arm and gathered 10,000 Taoist forms. Hundreds of different Taoist physiques rippled and spread, shaking the universe. Heavenly Wind Technique, Windstorm Battle Armor. the Heavenly Wind Bandit King let out a low roar. Countless Taoist patterns flowed on his body, and countless faintly discernible streams of qi attached to his body like a battle armor. Whoosh, the Heavenly Wind Bandit King's figure disappeared on the spot. His speed was so fast that not many of the Taoists present could catch his movements. However, Chu Kuangren's mind power was so strong that he could see everything clearly. Then, the Descendant's self-sword on his waist was unsheathed and slashed to the side, colliding with the Heavenly Wind Bandit King's spear. On the other side, the myriad Taoist avatar and the ghostly king's form also clashed. Chu Kuangren was multitasking against two heavenly Taoists. In fact, it was not difficult for him at all. After all, he had 3 souls. Coupled with his powerful soul energy, he could multitask at any time. This was reflected in his combat instincts and reflexes, which made him a natural-born warrior. Clang clang clang, the Descendant's self-sword and the Heavenly Wind Bandit King's spear had clashed more than 100 times. Not far away, the battle between the myriad Taoist avatar and the ghostly king's form was also very shocking. The shockwaves from their battle spread out, making it difficult for anyone to get close. "It's time to end this," Chu Kuangren said. A Taoist seal floated above his head, and thousands of rays of light shone down. Honorable Emperor Sword Art. Chu Kuangren's Descendant Self-Sword Slash. The Emperor Avatar formed, and with the support of the Taoist seal, a golden sword shadow slashed down, locking onto the Heavenly Wind Bandit King with an extremely domineering sword chi. Heavenly Tempest Tornado. The Heavenly Wind Bandit King attacked with his spear, causing a tornado to sweep across the area. However, that sword attack was too domineering. The tornado was easily torn apart. The Heavenly Wind Bandit King's windstorm battle robe was torn apart, and the giant sword shadow landed on his chest, almost cutting his emperor's body in half. His entire body was blasted away. The Heavenly Wind Bandit King was defeated. Brother Heavenly Wind. The Black Blood Hall's Lord's expression changed drastically. "Don't worry, you're next." Chu Kuangren's voice rang out. With the support of the Taoist seal, the myriad Taoist avatar's power had increased by quite a bit. The ghostly king's form did not last long before it was destroyed. The Black Blood Hall's Lord was punched into the ground by the avatar. Defeated. Chapter 904. Heavenly Wind Bandit King, Black Blood Tower Master. The 2 Skydao Masters had suffered a crushing defeat, but Chu Kuangren was still standing in midair. His white robe was spotless, and even though he had just gone through a great battle, his aura was still as calm as ever. It was as if the battle did not affect him at all. This caused everyone to be extremely surprised. Just what level has this person's strength reached? He had easily defeated 2 late-stage Heaven Law Lords, and it seemed like he hadn't even used his full strength. In the entire Purple Gold Galaxy, only false immortals were capable of such a feat. "Chu Kuangren, don't kill us." At this moment, the master of the Black Blood Tower roared, "You've subdued the Devil Fire Bandits and the Frenzy Sand Bandits, so you definitely need manpower to do something for you, right? I can make the killers of the Black Blood Tower work for you." He could guess what Chu Kuangren was thinking and immediately said. Upon hearing his words, Chu Kuangren's interest was piqued. "Your Black Blood Gang's headquarters have been destroyed. How much strength do you have left?" "The Black Blood Tower has many branches in various places. With a single command from me, they can immediately assemble several 100,000 assassins," the master of Black Blood Hall said. Interesting. Chu Kuangren's figure flashed and reappeared in front of the Black Blood Hall master. With a flick of his finger, his emperor's qi circulated and formed a mystical rune. "Open up your soul and don't put up any resistance. Otherwise I'll kill you immediately. Anyway, your Black Blood Hall won't affect me much." He threw the seal in his hand towards the Black Blood Hall's master. That was the Imperial Soul Slave seal. The master of the Black Blood Hall did not dare to resist and obediently accepted the slave seal. Very soon, the slave seal was planted in the soul of the master of the Black Blood Hall. Master. After being implanted with the slave seal, the Black Blood Hall master immediately knelt before Chu Kuangren. His attitude was extremely respectful, and he did not have the demeanor of a king of assassins. "Now, Heavenly Wind Thief King, do you submit?" Chu Kuangren's gaze was like a torch as he looked at the Tianfeng Bandit King. The other party took a deep breath, cupped his hands and said, "From now on, the Tianfeng Bandits are willing to listen to young master's orders." "Very good. Now, I want you 3 bandit kings to work together to clean up the bandits in the Astral Chaos Ocean. I'll give you 3 months. In 3 months, I want all the bandits in the chaotic star ocean to gather together and march on Purple Star. Chu Kuangren sneered. Hearing this, all the bandits' expressions changed. Marching to Purple Star. By the heavens, Chu Kuangren was planning to attack Purple Star. This guy was really crazy. However, their lives were now in Chu Kuangren's hands, so they could only do as Chu Kuangren said. There was no room for resistance. Furthermore, entering Purple Star, just thinking about it makes me excited. The Heavenly Wind Bandit's eyes revealed his desire to fight. As bandits, greed and tyrannical blood flowed through their veins. Marching into Purple Star, plundering its wealth, women, and even occupying the entire Purple Star civilization, they were extremely excited just thinking about it. Originally, they were no match for Purple Star. However, now that all the bandits in the disordered astral ocean had gathered into a single force, coupled with the hundreds of thousands of assassins from the Black Blood Gang, with Chu Kuangren as the leader, they might really be able to fight against the Purple Star Gang. The three bandit kings moved at the same time and began to organize the chaotic astral ocean. In the chaotic astral ocean, the bandit kings were the strongest. Just a single bandit king could sweep through a large area. Not to mention the fact that the three thief kings were working together. No one in the entire Chaos Star Ocean could compare to him. During this time, Chu Kuangren did not stop either. Using his immortal body, he entered the origin world with his consciousness and gained insight into another origin power, the immortal origin. That made his immortal body's self-healing ability even stronger. The immortal body is divided into 6 stages. I'm now at the 5th stage, particle rebirth. Perhaps when I completely control the immortal origin, I'll be able to advance to the 6th stage. Rebirth with a thought. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. The 6th stage of the immortal body was the truly terrifying part of the immortal body. As long as he had a thought, he could reconstruct his physical body. That had even surpassed the limits of a physical body. Ever since he stepped onto the path of cultivation, the immortal body could be said to be one of his strongest trump cards. Although it was only a god-tier reward, it was no less helpful to him than a supreme god's reward. Immortal, Flame, Lunar Radiance, Frost Tao, and Devour. Now that I've mastered 5 origin powers, if I were to add 2 more Dharma testimony seals, how terrifying will my combat strength be? I wonder if I can fight a false immortal? Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. There was still some time before the disordered astral ocean was completely reorganized. After gaining insight into the immortal origin, Chu Kuangren set his sights on the planets in the disordered astral ocean, especially the largest grade 9 planet. That was the largest planet in the disordered astral ocean. Even in the entire purple gold galaxy, there were only a few planets that were bigger than this planet. The only planet that was bigger than this was the Eternal Star. Chu Kuangren set his sights on this planet. Once the bandits nearby were mostly cleared, he began to devour it. Chapter 905. This feeling, could it be? Origin Energy. The Black Blood Hall Master took a deep breath. Origin Energy was something that even the Master of the Heaven Law yearned for. That was because Origin Energy was related to immortals. Gaining insight into Origin Energy was one of the conditions to become an immortal. In the Purple Gold Galaxy, only false immortals could gain insight into Origin Energy. Other than that, even the Skydao Master could not do it. Master, I can't believe you've gained insight into Origin Energy. To be able to gain insight into Origin Energy before becoming a Skydao Master is simply too powerful. You're definitely unique among the Purple Gold Galaxy's immortal seeds. The Fiery Fire Pirate King said with a tinge of envy. In space. Chu Kuangren slowly opened his eyes and looked at the white mist in his hand with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Interesting. Not only did my immortal stellar physique reach its peak after devouring a grade 9 planet, but I've also gained insight into my physical body's origin energy. Now, I have a total of 6 origin energies. Chu Kuangren smirked. 6 origin forces. This was an extremely terrifying thing. It was already difficult for an ordinary cultivator to gain insight into 1 origin energy, let alone 6. Moreover, Chu Kuangren's 6 origin energies were of different attributes. With the immortal stellar physique at its peak and this physical body's origin energy, my physical strength can easily kill the Skydao Master. I can even fight a peak Skydao Master. Moreover, that was just his physical strength. With the addition of other techniques, Chu Kuangren felt like he was about to break through the sky. If the immortal stellar physique at its peak is already this terrifying, then the complete immortal stellar physique should correspond to the realm of immortals. The highest realm of the immortal stellar physique. Physical immortal ascension. Physical immortal ascension was much more difficult than normal ascension, but once one succeeded, it would be much more terrifying than ordinary immortals. I don't know how many grade 9 planets I'll have to devour to achieve physical immortal ascension. If it's a star. Chu Kuangren looked at the dazzling sun that emanated endless light and heat in the distance and could not help but lick his lips. A star should be possible, but not this one. There are so many civilizations in the purple gold galaxy, including Firmament Star, that depend on it to survive. I'll look for one somewhere else in the future. He withdrew his body source energy and the might of his body. Chu Kuangren returned to his transcendent self. How are the preparations going? He looked at the master of the Black Blood Hall and asked. Reporting to young lord, everything has been prepared. The chaotic star ocean has a total of over 108,000 warships and 113 million bandits. Once you give the order, they will head to Purple Star, the Heavenly Wind Bandit King said. The 760,000 assassins of the Black Blood Tower are ready as well. The Master of Black Blood Hall said. Even though these 760,000 assassins seem tiny compared to the 100 million bandits, all of them were experts in slaughter amongst cultivators, and most of them were above the Emperor realm. Young Lord, we may have gathered a lot of forces, but Purple Star is no ordinary civilization. Moreover, if we march into Purple Star with so many people, we'll be discovered in no time. I'm afraid that before we even get close to Purple Star, we'll be attacked by Purple Star's vassal civilizations and defensive measures, the frenzied Sand Bandit King said. Purple Star was not to be trifled with for being able to stand tall in the purple gold galaxy for so many years. Many vassal civilizations obeyed their orders, and with Purple Star as the center, they had expanded their armies and fortifications. All these were enough to deter any forces that wanted to attack Purple Star. I'm aware of all this. I have a plan. Chu Kuangren said calmly. The few of them looked at each other. They did not know what Chu Kuangren was talking about, but he did not have the intention to continue. Let's go. Chu Kuangren said. All right. Hence, on this day, warships after warships carrying countless bandits left the chaotic star ocean and headed towards the Purple Star civilization. Naturally, such a huge movement could not be hidden from the major forces. Hence, on this day, the entire purple gold galaxy was shocked. Oh my God, what's going on in the chaotic star ocean? So many bandits have left the chaotic star ocean in full force. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to start a galactic war? Quickly go and investigate. Not a single force dared to ignore such a force. Just the Bandit King's faction alone was enough to warrant attention, let alone the entire chaotic star ocean's bandit nest. Soon, the major forces realized that the chaotic star ocean's bandits were heading in the same direction with a specific purpose. What did that mean? It meant that there was someone leading these bandits. This made everyone feel confused. Who was it? Who was so powerful that they could unify the entire chaotic star ocean? What was their goal? Continue to investigate. To be able to control the entire chaotic star ocean, this person is definitely not simple. This force is too powerful. With the 3 great bandit lords and the countless bandits in the chaotic star ocean combined, this force is enough to rival any top-tier civilization. Wait, this direction is... Some forces had already noticed it. This group of bandits was heading straight for Purple Star. Crazy, these guys from the chaotic star ocean are definitely crazy. Are they planning to start a war with Purple Star? *CK, this is too much. Do they have the strength to start a war with Purple Star? All the civilizations and orthodoxies were shocked by the chaotic star ocean's actions. They could not sit still and ordered their people to pay close attention to this matter. On the other side in Purple Star, when Hall Master Ziwei received the information, her face was so gloomy that it was almost dripping water. Killing intent leaked from her body uncontrollably. Good, it seems that my Purple Star's prestige has really been swept to the ground. Even a group of bandits dare to cause trouble for us. Do they think that my Purple Star can't do anything to them just because my Purple Star's strength has been greatly damaged? Send out the order to all the subsidiary civilizations along the way. They want to become enemies with my Purple Star? I want them to be buried in the chaotic star ocean before they even see Purple Star. Hall Master Ziwei said with a gloomy expression. Next to her, Purple Star Heavenly Protector frowned. For the chaotic star ocean to suddenly make such a move, there must be someone behind it. Who is it? We have to figure this out. Yes, I have already sent people to investigate. I believe that we will have news soon, Hall Master Ziwei said. At this moment, several light years away from Purple Star, millions of warships had already arrived in front of Purple Star's first line of defense. This was a huge fortress built in the starry sky, and the person overseeing this fortress was a peak Great Dao Master. A Great Dao Master was nothing in front of several great thief lords. However, the troublesome thing was that this fortress had an extremely powerful defensive array. Once it was activated, even the Heavenly Dao Master would not be able to break through it. As long as the bandit army was stopped here, the subsidiary civilizations of Purple Star would send reinforcements. Once the experts of the various civilizations gathered, they would be able to start a war with the bandit army. If things went badly, this mighty bandit army would not even have a chance to see Purple Star's face before they were defeated here. If that really happened, the Chaotic Star Ocean would probably become the laughingstock of the entire Purple Gold Galaxy. Chaotic Star Ocean, what are you going to do? All the forces were looking forward to it. Chapter 906. With Purple Star as the center, there were countless defense lines built within 7 light years. Among them, 18 strongholds were the most famous. In order to attack Purple Star, they had to pass through these 18 strongholds. And now, the first stronghold was the Ancient Cold Stronghold. The owner of this stronghold was a top-notch Great Dao Lord. He stood on the walls of the stronghold and looked at the mighty bandit army in the distance with disdain in his eyes. You're overestimating yourselves if you want to attack Purple Star. There are 18 strongholds, but you can't even pass through the first one. The owner of the Ancient Cold Stronghold, Dao Lord Guhan, sneered. The 18 strongholds were built with Purple Star's full effort. Each stronghold was equipped with countless array formations and could be said to be indestructible. These bandits won't be able to break through the Ancient Cold Stronghold. We just need to wait for the experts from other civilizations to eliminate them. Dao Lord Guhan thought to himself. Meanwhile, the various major factions were also paying attention to what the bandits would do. If they really stopped here, the Chaotic Ocean would become the biggest joke in the entire Purple Gold Galaxy. Among the millions of warships, the 3 pirate lords looked at the Ancient Cold Stronghold not far away. They could not help but frown when they saw the countless array formations circulating in the stronghold. They felt helpless. What should we do next? Let's stop first, the Tianfeng Pirate King said. If we go any closer, we'll crash into these array formations. There's no need to stop. At this moment, a voice came from within the warship. The 3 pirate lords and the Black Blood Hall Master looked at each other. If they did not stop, they would crash into them? We'll listen to young Master. The Fire Demon Pirate King gritted his teeth and said. The millions of warships continued advancing toward the stronghold. When the various major factions saw this scene, they could not help but be shocked. What are they trying to do? If we go any closer, we'll crash into the array formations of the Ancient Cold Stronghold. Are they tired of living? Looks like we'll crash into them and die. These bandits are indeed a bunch of suicidal lunatics. In the Ancient Cold Stronghold, Dao Lord Guhan was also slightly surprised. He sneered and said, trying to forcefully break through? Foolish. Then he said loudly, everyone get ready. Once these bandits enter the attack range of the array formations, destroy them. Yes. The people in charge of all the major formations activated the formations. Not long later, the ancient Frost Fortress was surrounded by countless array formations. Killing arrays and trapping arrays were activated one after another. The million warships continued to advance. In front of him were countless restrictive formations. Just as the countless battleships were about to collide, a peerlessly tyrannical aura erupted. A large amount of Emperor Qi soared into the sky from one of the battleships, interweaving in the void to form an Emperor Dharma idol. There was a large amount of golden sword Qi circulating within the Emperor Dharma idol's palm, emitting a powerful immortal technique that shook the universe. This aura is... All the experts who were paying attention to this battle couldn't help but narrow their eyes, as if they had thought of something at the same time. The sword Qi in the palm of the giant Dharma idol transformed into a golden sword shadow that spanned across the heavens and earth and stretched for hundreds of millions of feet. Wherever the sword shadow went, the void cracked and the sky collapsed. Within billions of kilometers, countless stars trembled. This strike collided violently with the ancient cold fortress's restrictions. One by one, the formations and restrictions shattered and exploded. The entire ancient cold fortress was plunged into unprecedented turbulence. The fortress was in turmoil and the cultivators were running for their lives. The stars lost their luster. Countless cultivators who were watching were even more dumbfounded. Dao Master Guhan watched in a daze as the sword descended. As if it was tearing through thin paper, it easily tore apart the formations and restrictions of the 18 fortresses. The aftermath of the sword chi swept past. Dao Master Guhan didn't even have time to react before he was blasted into pieces by the terrifying sword chi. After the sword strike, the originally majestic ancient cold fortress was split in half. Countless wreckages of battleships and fortress fragments floated in the starry sky. Although the sword chi had dissipated, the terrifying pressure still lingered in the air, intimidating everyone who had witnessed this sword. Eliminate the remaining enemies. A cold voice sounded. The 3 bandit lords and the Black Blood Hall Master finally regained their senses. Fire. The Heavenly Wind Bandit King let out a long cry. Instantly, beams of energy shot out from the countless battleships. Like a storm, they bombarded the dilapidated ancient cold fortress. The Purple Star cultivators guarding the fortress were already scared out of their wits by that strike. They didn't have any room to organize a resistance. Soon, some were injured, some were dead, and some had escaped. The ancient cold fortress was destroyed. The bandits cheered excitedly and shouted loudly. In the void, the onlooking cultivators gradually regained their senses. However, they still couldn't help but feel shocked when they saw the dilapidated ancient cold fortress. If I'm not mistaken, that strike just now was poetic sword god Chu Kuangren's immortal technique, right? A cultivator said with a trembling voice. That's right, it's him. My heavens, just what level has this person's strength reached? This fortress was actually destroyed by a single slash of his sword. He's too powerful. Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren once said that he wanted to let the Purple Star cultivators have a taste of what it feels like to be destroyed. It seems like he was telling the truth. I just didn't expect him to gather all the bandits in the disordered galaxy. The Purple Star cultivators have offended a powerful person this time. Countless cultivators discussed among themselves. Meanwhile, the major forces also realized that the disordered galaxy's operation this time was led by Chu Kuangren. The eyes of the strong cultivators who were secretly ordered by the Purple Star cultivators to hunt down and kill them lit up as an impulse quickly spread in their hearts. An impulse to run to Chu Kuangren's aid. The Purple Star cultivators once sent the Black Blood Gang to hunt us down. If we don't die, I'm afraid they won't let this matter rest. There's a way to solve this once and for all. As long as we help Chu Kuangren take care of the Purple Star cultivators, we'll have our revenge and won't have to worry about the Purple Star cultivators coming after us again. Purple Star, I still need to settle the score with them. All of a sudden, the strong cultivators who were hunted down in the past began to make their moves. Meanwhile, in the Purple Star cultivators, upon learning that Chu Kuangren was the mastermind, Palace Master Ziwei stomped her feet in anger. Chu Kuangren. It's this guy again. I haven't even settled the score with him the last time, and he's here again. Good. If that's the case, then let's settle the score with him as well. Gather some men, I'll personally go to war and fight this person. Palace Master Ziwei said coldly. At that moment, the Purple Star Sky Protector beside her said, Palace Master, the forces that Chu Kuangren has gathered in the disordered galaxy are no longer to be underestimated. I'm afraid it's inappropriate for us to go to war without careful consideration. Why don't we just wait and see? Wait and see? That's right. No matter how strong Chu Kuangren is, he'll lose at least 90% of the people he leads if he wants to break through the 18 lines of defense and reach the Purple Star cultivators. Then we'll gather the Purple Star forces and annihilate him and his motley crew in one fell swoop. The Purple Star Sky Protector said coldly. What the Sky Protector says makes sense. Then let's wait for him to come. Palace Master Ziwei said coldly. Chapter 907. Chu Kuangren had personally led countless bandits from the disordered galaxy to attack the Purple Star Alliance. The news quickly spread throughout the Purple Gold Galaxy. All the civilizations and orthodoxies were shocked to the core. The name of poetic sword god Chu Kuangren was once again pushed to the forefront. Poetic sword god Chu Kuangren is too crazy to do something like this. I thought he was just joking, but I didn't expect him to actually declare war on the entire Purple Star Alliance. Not only did he declare war, but he also dragged all the bandits from the disordered galaxy into this mess. My goodness, I can't afford to offend him in the future. Tiske, what a monster! The Purple Gold Galaxy is going to be lively. Compared to the onlookers, the affiliated civilizations of the Purple Star Alliance were on high alert. If the Purple Star Alliance was destroyed, they would not be any better. The Purple Star Alliance had issued a death order to keep Chu Kuangren and the bandits from the disordered galaxy out of the Purple Star Alliance. They would kill as many as they could. It was obvious that the Purple Star Alliance was using them as cannon fodder. However, they had no other choice. As Purple Star Alliance's affiliated civilizations, their lifelines were in the hands of the Purple Star Alliance. If they disobeyed, the Purple Star Alliance could annihilate them at any time. In an instant, all the great civilizations made their moves. They gathered their troops and headed towards Chu Kuangren's location. A galactic war had just begun. Somewhere in space, the second of the 18 strongholds, Chu Kuangren swung his sword, and a gigantic sword shadow split the entire stronghold in half, just like how he split the ancient Frost stronghold. That earth-shattering sword strike sent chills down everyone's spines. Chu Kuangren's combat strength is too terrifying. I'm afraid even a peak Heavenly Dao Master might not be able to unleash that attack. He's a monster. Countless people were shocked. The combat strength that Chu Kuangren had displayed was completely different from his actual age. It was beyond everyone's understanding. Amidst the deafening explosion, the stronghold collapsed. Suddenly, a large number of cultivators emerged from the collapsed stronghold and charged towards the bandits. Kill him. Whoever kills Chu Kuangren will be rewarded with 100 billion spiritual pith. Some of these cultivators were from the various affiliated civilizations of the Purple Star Alliance, while some were from the local strongholds. A bloody battle broke out in the starry sky. Chu Kuangren was extremely calm when he saw that. As he channeled his mind power, countless spiritual power weapons swept out in all directions. All the cultivators who approached him were killed one by one. The battle lasted for a day and a night. In the end, Chu Kuangren's side emerged victorious. Young master, we lost a total of 68 million people in this battle, including monarchs. Tianfeng Bandit King wanted to report the losses. However, Chu Kuangren waved his hand and said indifferently, I don't need to know about that. As long as they're not all dead, let's move on. Hearing this, the Bandit Kings felt a chill in their hearts. At this moment, only then did they truly realize that they were merely tools that Chu Kuangren was using to exact his revenge on Purple Star. Their deaths were nothing to Chu Kuangren, and he did not even bother to put on an act. I know all of you are dissatisfied, hate me and blame me, but none of that matters. I just want to destroy the Purple Star civilization, and all of you want the wealth of the Purple Star civilization, right? I have the ability to help you achieve this. That is all you need to know. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. But young master, if this goes on, most of our people will be dead by the time we reach the Purple Star civilization. How are we supposed to fight against the Purple Star civilization then? Frenzied Sand Bandit King took a deep breath and said, I've said that you don't need to worry about that. Just do as I say, Chu Kuangren said. Well, alright then. No matter how dissatisfied the Bandit Kings were, there was no turning back now. The disordered galaxy's bandits were all greedy to the core, and they had long been hooked by the Purple Star civilization's wealth. Especially after witnessing Chu Kuangren's powerful strength, they saw the possibility of achieving that goal. Now, it was basically impossible for them to turn back and return to the disordered galaxy. The bandit army continued to move forward. The third stronghold. The fourth stronghold. The fifth stronghold. Before the eighth stronghold, the bandit army that Chu Kuangren led had lost more than 20% of its members. The closer they got to the Purple Star civilization, the stronger the resistance they encountered. Even the Heavenly Dao Masters had joined the battle. The forces of the Purple Gold Galaxy understood that it would be extremely difficult for the bandit army to break through the 18 lines of defense and reach the Purple Star civilization. They would have to lose more than 90% of their forces to succeed. Using less than 10% of their forces to fight against the entire Purple Star civilization? It was impossible no matter how they thought about it. The Windy Sky Bandit King and the others were getting anxious. After all, they were the ones who had lost their people in the series of battles. However, they dared not disobey Chu Kuangren. After a huge battle, the bandit army was resting. Chu Kuangren looked into the distant starry sky and murmured, This distance should be enough. Let's begin then. Begin? Begin what? The few thief kings were somewhat puzzled. You guys wait here, Chu Kuangren said. Then his figure flashed and disappeared on the spot. Not long after, he traveled a few light years and arrived above the Purple Star civilization. Then, with a thought, the originally calm space behind him began to shake violently, forming circles of ripples. Every strong cultivator in the Purple Star civilization sensed the incredibly powerful spatial fluctuations, and they all looked toward the outer domain. Their emperor's thoughts began to probe the source of the spatial fluctuations. What a powerful spatial fluctuation. Who is it? It's him. It's the poetic sword god Chu Kuangren. How dare he come to the Purple Star civilization alone? Also, what is he doing? All the strong cultivators in the Purple Star civilization were shocked. Meanwhile, a few light years away, at the bandit army's location, after Chu Kuangren left, 2 rays of light flew out from the warship. It was 2 Chu Kuangrens. The Windy Sky Bandit King and the others were extremely shocked. No, it's a soul form. But why is Master's soul form here? And there are 2 of them too. What's going on? Everyone was confused. However, Chu Kuangren's Earth Soul and Human Soul did not explain much. My true self has begun to move. Then let us begin as well. The Earth Soul and Human Soul looked at each other. Then they took out a silver-white round plate and tossed it into the air. The round plate radiated with a boundless brilliance. 9 circles rotated and turned into a 3-dimensional device, and a powerful spatial fluctuation quickly spread. It was the time-space mirror. The spatial fluctuation shrouded the starry sky, and circles of ripples appeared in the void, forming a huge spatial portal. Everyone enter the portal. Chu Kuangren's Earth Soul said. The Windy Sky Bandit King and the others immediately understood. Everyone enter the portal. On the other side, on the Purple Star civilization, countless strong cultivators came to the outer domain and stared at Chu Kuangren. Especially the Purple Star Palace Lord, whose eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. Chu Kuangren, how dare you come to the Purple Star civilization alone? You must have a death wish. Oh, alone? In that case, please open your eyes wide and take a good look. I'm not alone here. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Behind him, one warship after another emerged from the void. It was endless, as if there was no end to it. Soon, the sky above the Purple Star civilization was densely packed with hundreds of thousands of warships, as well as the ferocious bandits. After today, the Purple Star civilization will become history, Chu Kuangren said calmly. Chapter 908. One after another, warships appeared behind Chu Kuangren. Countless bandits shrouded the area, and everyone looked at the scene in shock. Chu Kuangren was originally alone in space, but now so many people had appeared out of thin air. How did he do it? Whoosh! 2 streams of light flew over and entered Chu Kuangren's body. The Earth Soul and Human Soul returned. The temporal mirror also returned to his body. A spatial technique. Ziwei Palace Lord stared at Chu Kuangren with a grim expression. She knew that Chu Kuangren had spatial techniques, but she did not expect him to use them to do something like this. It was unimaginable that he could move such a large number of warships and bandit troops across several light years. What cultivation realm was this guy at? That was everyone's question. However, they did not know that it was not an easy task to move so many warships and cultivators to the Purple Star realm. Even Chu Kuangren had to rely on the temporal mirror's help. Moreover, there was a distance restriction. That was why he had led the disordered Astral Ocean's people towards the Purple Star realm. He could only move them over when they had reached a certain distance. If his cultivation level was higher, the disordered Astral Ocean's bandits would not even need to leave the Astral Ocean. They could directly move from the Astral Ocean to the Purple Star realm without attacking a single fortress. Ziwei Palace Lord, it's time to settle the score between us today, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. His eyes flashed with a chilling intent. Ever since the Purple Star realm sent people to the Firmament Star to destroy it, there was no way he could reconcile with the Purple Star realm. It was either his death or the Purple Star realm's destruction. Haha, Brother Chu, how can you leave us out if you want to destroy the Purple Star realm? At that moment, a burst of laughter was heard. Not far away, a group of figures flew out. One of them was the mystic Moon Taoist master. Behind him were Yang Xiao, the loose cultivator, and Tian, the Lion Ridge Taoist master, and the other Taoists who had helped Chu Kuangren before. Brother Mystic Moon, why are you guys here? Chu Kuangren was rather surprised. The Purple Star realm has hired the Black Blood Gang to assassinate us. We will not let this go so easily. The Mystic Moon Taoist master sneered. The other Tao lords looked at Hall Master Ziwei and the others with cold eyes. They had a grudge with Purple Star. That's right, we've been in the vicinity for a long time. Originally, we wanted to see how many people fellow Taoist Chu brought. If there's no chance of victory, we won't interfere. If there's a lot of people, we'll give it a try. Yang Xiao chuckled. He glanced at the countless bandits behind Chu Kuangren with a look of admiration in his eyes. Even if we were to stretch our imaginations to the max, we would never have thought that Brother Chu would be able to bring so many people with you. What a surprise. With so many people, it's time to fight Purple Star. Ha, come on. Purple Star, I'll settle the score with you for getting someone to assassinate me today. Everyone was excited. They rubbed their palms together and were full of fighting spirit. They couldn't wait to have a big fight. Hall Master Ziwei sneered, "If you want to destroy my Purple Star, let's see if you have the strength." Hall Master Ziwei then took out a token and tossed it into the air. That token then transformed into a dozen rays of light that shot towards various parts of Purple Star. Suddenly, waves of powerful auras erupted all over Purple Star. Who dares to invade my Purple Star? Humph, do you have a death wish? Voices came one after another from Purple Star. Then, more than a dozen figures flew over, and each of them was the Heavenly Tao Master. Oh, so this is the hidden strength of Purple Star? It's indeed extraordinary, the Sacred Moon Tao Lord said solemnly. They knew better than anyone that the Heavenly Tao Master was hiding in Purple Star. The only question was this all they had? Today it doesn't matter if it's Chu Kuangren, the Disordered Galaxy, or anyone else. Anyone who dares to invade Purple Star must die. Hall Master Ziwei said coldly. As soon as she finished. On Purple Star, streaks of light and battleships soared into the sky as the two armies faced off against each other, their swords drawn. Let's see who's going to die then. Chu Kuangren waved his hand. Instantly, the bandit army behind him charged towards the Purple Star army. At the same time, the Purple Star cultivators also charged towards them. Waves of violent energy exploded in the starry sky, and the energy beams fired by the battleship were also continuously fired out. The entire starry sky trembled violently. The great battle had begun. Kill. Prioritize killing Chu Kuangren. Soldiers against soldiers, generals against generals. The charge of the army was like two torrents crashing into each other. Meanwhile, the Heavenly Tao Masters had also found their respective opponents. The Purple Star army had more than a dozen Heavenly Tao Masters, but Chu Kuangren had quite a number of them as well. The Sacred Moon Tao Lord, Yang Shao, the Lunar Palace Lord, the three Pirate Lords, Chu Kuangren alone was facing 4 Heavenly Tao Masters. Kid, you're so young and yet you're able to stir up so much trouble. If you're allowed to live, I'm afraid the Purple Star will be in grave danger in the future, a white-haired elder said coldly. The Emperor's chi on his body boiled as Taoist patterns circulated and gathered the surrounding starlight into a surging galaxy that charged towards Chu Kuangren. It was the Purple Star celestial technique, galactic apocalypse. The Purple Star is gone today. How can there be a future? Chu Kuangren stood still on the spot as he casually threw out a punch. The terrifying fist energy exploded and shattered the Milky Way into pieces. Then he took a step forward and arrived before the white-haired elder. He clenched his fist and smashed it towards the elder's chest. This punch was ordinary and not exquisite at all. However, that ordinary punch made the elder's pupils dilate as he felt an unprecedented threat. Starlight Shield. The elder activated his Emperor's chi and formed a light shield. Boom. There was a loud explosion. That starlight shield was shattered by Chu Kuangren's punch and turned into specks of starlight that filled the sky. However, that punch was still as powerful as ever. It landed on the elder's arm and landed on his chest. The elder spat out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying and smashed through several battleships. His body floated in the void with his right hand hanging limply. His chest had caved in and his aura had weakened by half. He looked at Chu Kuangren with a horrified expression. What kind of monstrous strength is this? Chu Kuangren had injured him, the Sky Lord, with just one punch. If it were not for the starlight shield that blocked most of the attack, that punch would have killed him on the spot. This kind of physical strength, he had never heard of it before. I can't believe his strength has increased so much. Hall Lord Ziwei's pupils shrunk. The Mystic Moon Sect Master and the others were also shocked. Brother Chu's cultivation may not have changed much since the battle at the Mystic Moon Ancient City, but his strength has improved tremendously. His cultivation hasn't improved much, but his combat strength is unimaginably strong. How did he do it? No wonder he was able to tame these unruly bandits in the chaotic astral ocean. Chapter 909. This person's strength is not to be underestimated. A heavenly lord alone is no match for him. Get into formation. The other 3 heavenly lords who were fighting Chu Kuangren were shocked. Then, the Taoist patterns on their bodies activated and each of them took up a position, surrounding Chu Kuangren in a triangular formation. Or formation? Aside from the Tao of cultivation, Chu Kuangren had also cultivated many other Taos. He was proficient in formations, alchemy, equipment refinement, and runes. He could tell what the three heavenly lords' formation was with just a glance. Heaven, earth, human, ternary formation. The three heavenly lords shouted in unison. The Taoist patterns on their bodies resonated with each other, forming an invisible force field in the void that completely enveloped Chu Kuangren. Even a peak heavenly lord would be suppressed by two realms in the ternary formation, let alone a heavenly lord like you. One of the heavenly lords sneered. Not far away, the purple star heavenly protector and hall master Ziwei smiled when they saw that. They looked at Chu Kuangren as if he was a turtle in a jar. I've experienced the power of the ternary formation before. When the three supreme elders cast it together, no one below the false immortal realm can stop it. Let's see how he's going to escape from this formation. The divine moon Tao Lord and the others frowned. Quick, go destroy the formation. Yang Shao said. The others wanted to do the same, but they were stopped by the purple star heavenly lords. They did not even have a chance to escape. Take care of yourselves first. That's right. Do you think you have the time to worry about others? Today not only Chu Kuangren but all of you will die as well. Compared to the others, Chu Kuangren was much calmer inside the formation. He looked calm and did not feel like he was in danger at all. To him this level was not even a problem at all. How could it be considered a dangerous situation? You think you can defeat me with this formation? You think too highly of yourselves, Chu Kuangren said. Let's try it then. One of the heavenly lords snorted. Chu Kuangren's nonchalant attitude annoyed him. Attack. The three heavenly lords attacked at the same time. With the help of the formation, not only could they suppress their enemy's strength, but they could also increase their own combat strength. The three of them activated their respective immortal arts. The starlight in the starry sky gathered towards them, forming three incomparably resplendent galaxies. A terrifying surge of energy erupted as three-star rivers that carried majestic Taoist patterns and Emperor's Qi rushed towards Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren stood still and channeled his mind power. His Emperor's Qi and mind power swirled around him, forming an invisible vortex. The three-star rivers were sucked into the vortex and gradually disintegrated. However, the formation was so powerful that the power of Chu Kuangren's attack was limited, and a portion of its power actually hit his body. The three heavenly law lords sneered when they saw this. So what if it's a supreme defensive move? Under the restriction of this ternary strange formation, how much power can your moves display? Die. Three masters of the heavenly law plus the Emperor's Qi. The Milky Way's power became even more terrifying, and Chu Kuangren was shrouded in these three Milky Ways, so no one could see what was going on inside. However, everyone knew that in the purple gold galaxy, not many people would be able to survive such an attack. Even Chu Kuangren would not be able to survive. I bet there's nothing left of this guy now. Hall Master Ziwei sneered with a hint of satisfaction on his face. It's all over now. That's right. The three heavenly law lords looked at each other. They believed that even a hollow immortal would be injured by their attack. Not to mention a great Taoist. He would definitely be dead. Over? You must be dreaming. At that moment, an indifferent voice suddenly resounded throughout the universe. When the starlight energy dissipated, everyone saw a peerless white-robed figure standing in the air within the ternary strange formation. Radiance swirled around him, making him look extremely transcendent. Chu Kuangren glanced at the three heavenly law lords and said calmly, "Is this all you've got? How disappointing." The three heavenly law lords widened their eyes. How is this possible? How did he manage to withstand our attack? And he's unharmed too. It was not only the three heavenly law lords who were in the formation. The other purple star Taoist masters could not help but gasp. The ternary strange formation formed by the three heavenly law lords was incredibly powerful. In the purple star Taoist sect's records, they had never been defeated before. Yet now they could not even hurt Chu Kuangren. How did you do it? One of the heavenly law lords could not help but ask. Is it that difficult? Chu Kuangren retorted. After all, his physical body had already reached the peak of the starlight immortal physique realm. An ordinary heavenly law lord would not even be able to hurt him. On top of that, he had the Dharma restoration technique and a heavenly Tao weapon as his defense. The three-star rivers did not even break through his defenses. Even if they did, he still had the immortal body to protect him. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Take this attack from me, Chu Kuangren said. As his mind power circulated, A giant colorful rune appeared in the void. The rune then turned into 9 streams of dragon chi that entered Chu Kuangren's body, instantly increasing his aura. Then the phoenix flames, Emperor's Chi, Taoist Chi, and Taoist marks appeared in the void one after another, turning into circles of purplish red light. With a single thought, the heavens and earth perished. Boom boom boom. The void exploded. Under the impact of the purplish red light, the Triuan strange formation shattered. Naturally, the 3 Taoists who were in the formation were the first to bear the brunt of the attack. They were hit by the purplish red light and were blasted away with blood spewing from their mouths. One of the heavenly law lords took the brunt of the attack. His body could not take it anymore and his physical body exploded into a bloody mist. Don't think this is the end. Chu Kuangren chuckled after breaking the formation. The next moment, his body disappeared and reappeared in front of the heavenly law lord who was blasted away. Then the descendant self-sword was unsheathed. A purple sword ray sliced through the sky. The heavenly law lord, who was already heavily injured, was torn in half without any resistance. The second one? Chu Kuangren chuckled. As his mind power circulated, thousands of spiritual power weapons gathered and aimed at another heavenly law lord. The weapons rained down like a torrential downpour. Starlight shield. That person roared and gathered the starlight to form a shield. However, it was useless. The starlight shield shattered with a bang. The heavenly law lord was instantly shredded into a bloody mist. The third one. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Amethyst celestial sword slash. At that moment, the heavenly law lord, who was blasted away by Chu Kuangren's punch, raised his emperor's essence to its limit and unleashed a sword slash with all his might. The starlight in the sky condensed into a gigantic sword that slashed out with immense power. Let me show you what a sword is. Chu Kuangren held the descendant self-sword in his hand as his emperor's essence circulated. An emperor avatar was formed, and thousands of sword chi swirled in the avatar's palm before they formed into a domineering golden sword shadow. It was domineering and sharp. It was as if this sword was the only one in the world. It was the emperor's sword. The honorable emperor's sword art reigned supreme in this universe. When the 2 sword shadows collided, the starlight sword was shattered without any resistance. The sword shadow then landed on the heavenly law lord's body and instantly killed him. The fourth one. Chu Kuangren said. He stood proudly in his snow-white robe. He had broken the formation and killed the heavenly law lord. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Chapter 9-10. The 4 heavenly Tao masters were killed in the blink of an eye. Everyone present was frightened. That was a heavenly Tao master. He was one of the most powerful cultivators in the purple gold galaxy, not some common cabbage. Yet he was killed just like that. This was simply too unimaginable. Palace Lord Ziwei, the purple star heavenly protector, and the others looked extremely serious. They looked at Chu Kuangren as if he was the greatest enemy they had ever met. Let my doppelganger fight with him. Hall Master Ziwei released several war puppets, and all of them were powerful existences at the level of a heavenly law master. Not only that, but Palace Lord Ziwei's emperor's thoughts were also stored in these battle puppets, which were equivalent to his clones. As expected of the Purple Star sect. They even have heavenly Tao master battle puppets. The mystic Moon Taoist master and the others were amazed. However, they were not afraid. They could tell that Chu Kuangren's display of strength had given them a lot of confidence. The battle puppets were not afraid of death, and they were not much weaker than the heavenly Tao masters from before. Meanwhile, a pair of eagle-like eyes stared at Chu Kuangren from afar. It was a middle-aged man with a stocky build. He held a black longbow in his hand as he stood on an uninhabited star. Chu Kuangren, you are indeed powerful. But it's easier to dodge an open spear than a hidden arrow. Do you think you can dodge my hidden arrow? The middle-aged man was also a heavenly Tao master. However, compared to the other heavenly Tao masters, he was most proficient in archery and assassination. Hence, in the Purple Star sect's records, he was known as the Dark Arrow Taoist. The Dark Arrow Taoist pulled the bowstring, and a pitch-black arrow instantly formed, locking onto Chu Kuangren, who was fighting the battle puppet. Whoosh! The arrow pierced through the air and pierced into the void. That was right. This arrow actually disappeared into the void. It was a dark arrow. Only something that was difficult to detect was called a dark arrow. At that moment, Chu Kuangren, who was fighting the battle puppet, did not know that an arrow was flying towards him from tens of millions of kilometers away. When he sensed it, the arrow was less than a kilometer away from him. A kilometer was nothing to the dark arrow. It only took 1,000th of a blink of an eye. Oh, interesting. Chu Kuangren thought, and an invisible whirlpool formed around him. With a single thought, all techniques returned to nothingness. As soon as the vortex was formed, the dark arrow had already arrived. If Chu Kuangren had been a moment slower, he would have been hit by this arrow. Although it might not cause any harm to him, the feeling of being plotted against still made him feel very uncomfortable. Chu Kuangren stared coldly at the black arrow in the vortex. Since you want to play with bows and arrows, I'll play with you till the end. With a thought, the black arrow was shattered. Then he threw a few punches in a row and sent the battle puppet flying. At the same time, he used his telekinesis to probe the direction of the arrow. However, there was no sign of the archer. Oh, I've changed places. But where do you think you can go? Chu Kuangren sneered. His psyche power spread and covered the entire battlefield, looking for traces of the archer. Next to him, a puppet fighter suddenly rushed up. Get lost. Chu Kuangren clenched his fist and unleashed his full physical strength. With a single punch, the battle puppet was instantly shattered into pieces. Found it? All of a sudden. Chu Kuangren narrowed his eyes and looked at an uninhabited planet tens of millions of kilometers away. A middle-aged man was aiming at him with a bow. Oh, I've been discovered. The Dark Arrow Taoist was a little surprised. I heard that this person knows how to use his telekinesis. It seems that his senses are very powerful. But so what? I'm tens of millions of kilometers away from him. Moreover, I'm separated by half of the battlefield. Even if he can sense me, what can he do to me? The Dark Arrow Taoist chuckled. That was his confidence as an archer. Long-range attacks were the specialty of archers. Wait a minute, what's he doing? Suddenly the Dark Arrow Taoist was shocked. He saw Chu Kuangren raise his left hand and put it at the same level as his left. This action is... The Dark Arrow Taoist's pupils dilated. He was very familiar with that action. That was the action of shooting an arrow. A purplish-red longbow appeared in Chu Kuangren's hand. Taoist patterns flowed on the bow, and one could tell that it was no ordinary item. At the very least, the Dark Arrow Taoist felt that the bow in his hand was far inferior to his opponent's. Does he know archery too? Then, he sensed an incredibly powerful immortal technique fluctuation from Chu Kuangren's body. This is... The Dark Arrow Taoist's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly had a very bad feeling. 4 Divine Sun Archers, Vermilion Bird. Buzz. The bowstring was released and a purplish-red arrow pierced through the air. In the blink of an eye, it crossed the battlefield and flew towards the Dark Arrow Taoist. Not good. The Dark Arrow Taoist's pupils shrank when he sensed the power of that arrow. He wanted to escape immediately. However, that arrow suddenly turned into a purplish-red vermilion bird. The vermilion bird's wings circled, and thousands of fiery feathers turned into thousands of arrows that surrounded him, sealing off his path of retreat. D*Eminent, that's the Li family's 4 Divine Sun Archers. How does Chu Kuangren know such an archery technique? He had long heard of the Li family's 4 Divine Sun Archers and had seen it before, but he did not expect Chu Kuangren to know it too. Moreover, Chu Kuangren was better than anyone else from the Li family. 4 Divine Sun Archers, Azure Dragon. The vermilion bird arrow sealed off the Dark Arrow Taoist's path of retreat. Following that, the Azure Dragon also pierced through the air and transformed into a ferocious Azure Dragon. Faced with such a powerful attack, the Dark Arrow Taoist drew his bowstring and performed an immortal archery technique as well. Dark Arrow Falling Moon. The arrow pierced through the air, bringing with it a chilling aura. It collided with the Azure Dragon, and the void instantly exploded. 4 Divine Sun Archers, White Tiger. However, before the Dark Arrow Taoist could react, another arrow pierced through the air. A ferocious white tiger roared as it crossed the battlefield. This time, the Dark Arrow Taoist could not defend himself in time and was blasted away by the white tiger arrow. His body exploded on the spot. Chu Kuangren killed a Sky Dao Master with 3 arrows from tens of millions of miles away. The first arrow sealed off his opponent's path of retreat, the second arrow destroyed his opponent's resistance, and the third arrow annihilated him. Everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. They had never heard that Chu Kuangren knew archery as well. Just how many more trump cards does this guy have up his sleeves? What a terrifying archery technique. That bow of his is no ordinary heavenly Dao weapon either. Especially that string, it gives me a palpitating feeling. That's a immortal tendon. He's too powerful. He's just too powerful. Just how many more trump cards does Chu Kuangren have up his sleeves? Everyone stared at Chu Kuangren with shock in their eyes. A powerful enemy was no doubt terrifying, but a powerful enemy whose trump cards could never be seen was even more despairing. And Chu Kuangren was such an enemy. Even Palace Lord Ziwei could not help but feel a little fearful against such an existence. However, since things had come to this, there was no turning back for her and Chu Kuangren. Now all she wanted to do was to destroy Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren, you shall die today. Palace Lord Ziwei took a step forward and unleashed the peak Sky Dao Master's aura. The strongest Taoist at the scene immediately faced Chu Kuangren. Chapter 9-11. Palace Lord Ziwei had personally made a move to suppress Chu Kuangren. The Lord of the Heavenly Dao's pinnacle battle prowess was completely unleashed. He took a step forward and arrived in front of Chu Kuangren. As he lifted his arm, streaks of dazzling Milky Way swirled around and smashed towards Chu Kuangren. Every star river was powerful enough to kill a late-stage Heavenly Dao Lord, and Hall Master Ziwei was currently controlling tens to hundreds of star river. It could be seen how high Hall Master Ziwei's cultivation was. Even if he couldn't compare to a pseudo-immortal, he wasn't far from it. Chu Kuangren looked at the incoming Milky Way and activated his Starlight Immortal physique to its limit as he punched out with both his fists. Fist shadows appeared one after another, and the force shattered the starry sky. The star rivers exploded one after another. Extreme Galaxy Hand of Destruction. Hall Mistress Ziwei grabbed out fiercely, and starlight condensed into a huge palm. It pushed out horizontally with terrifying power. Seal of Proof. 2 rays of light shot out from Chu Kuangren's body. 2 mystical talismans immediately floated above his head. Then the Descendant Self-Sword appeared in his hand and he slashed out with it. The fluctuations of the Reverent Emperor Sword art erupted. Under the enhancement of the Seal of Proof, the power of the Golden Sword shadows multiplied. Boom! The sword shadow and the giant palm collided with each other, and then both exploded. Chu Kuangren and Hall Master Ziwei were both pushed back a few meters. Purple Star Divine Eyes. Hall Master Ziwei snorted coldly, and a brilliant purple light bloomed in her eyes. This was Purple Star's most powerful immortal art. A beam of purple light shot out from Hall Master Ziwei's eyes. The beam of light pierced through the void. Chu Kuangren snorted coldly as he pushed his physical strength to its limit. With his Emperor's Qi and mind power circulating, he activated the Honorable Emperor's Sword art once again. This time the power was even more tyrannical. The purple light beam was forcibly shattered by this sword. Hall Master Ziwei's pupils shrank as she was sent flying by this sword. His battle prowess is actually above mine? How is this possible? Hall Master Ziwei was extremely shocked. The Purple Star cultivators were shocked as well. The invincible palace master in their hearts was no match for Chu Kuangren. How could they accept this? Too weak. Hall Master Ziwei, you really disappoint me, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. He took a step forward while 2 Dharma verification seals appeared above his head, and the might of his Tao art was peerlessly vast as it charged madly at everything in the surroundings. He raised his hand and slashed out again. The golden sword light tore through the void, and the domineering sword pressure completely locked onto Hall Master Ziwei. Starlight Shield. Hall Master Ziwei activated a defensive technique. The surrounding starlight formed a total of 7 starlight shields in front of him. Bang bang bang. 7 consecutive explosions rang out. The 7 shields shattered one by one. Hall Master Ziwei was struck by the sword Qi and was sent flying. If we continue to fight, will I die? Hall Master Ziwei said in disbelief. In the purple gold galaxy, other than hollow immortals, there had never been anyone who could force him to this state, let alone a celestial seed. Stop. At this moment, a furious roar came from within the purple star. Following that, a purple golden coffin flew out and charged towards Chu Kuangren with a violent force. This aura is... Chu Kuangren narrowed his eyes and struck out with his sword. The sword shadow collided with the coffin, and the surrounding void suddenly collapsed. Chu Kuangren retreated a few dozen feet and looked at the purple golden coffin with narrowed eyes. This aura, it's a hollow immortal. A hollow immortal's strength surpassed the Sky Dao Masters, but due to various limitations, they were destined to not become immortals. The hollow immortal has made his move. What a powerful aura. Is this the power of a hollow immortal? Everyone looked at the coffin with a solemn gaze. A hollow immortal was hiding within the purple star. Everyone was already mentally prepared for this. However, they were not completely unprepared. Old Curmudgeon Ku, our last battle ended in a draw. Why don't we continue today? A cold voice came from outside the purple star. A white ray of light flew towards them. As if it sensed something, the purple golden coffin suddenly exploded. Then a gray-robed elder walked out from it. That white ray of light arrived in front of everyone and turned into a white-haired elder in a white robe. This person was the hollow immortal of mortal heaven. The hollow immortal of mortal heaven appeared, and his terrifying aura swept out and locked onto the hollow immortal that came out from the coffin, which was Old Curmudgeon Ku. When the two hollow immortals met again, a battle was about to break out. Hollow immortal of mortal heaven. Old Curmudgeon Ku's expression was solemn. Previously, when the purple star sent people to surround Chu Kuangren, he was responsible for holding the hollow immortal of mortal heaven back. But now the situation was reversed. Chu Kuangren led his people to attack the purple star, and the hollow immortal of mortal heaven was holding him back. What a reversal of fortune. Let's fight. Old Curmudgeon Ku shouted and then charged towards the hollow immortal of mortal heaven. Once again the two hollow immortals clashed, and their auras shook the heavens and earth. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren looked at Palace Lord Ziwei coldly. He closed in step by step. Wherever he went, sword chi and Taoist patterns intertwined and collided. All the purple star cultivators who wanted to stop him were easily killed. The disordered star ocean, the black blood gang, the mystic moon ancient city, and the hollow immortal of mortal heaven. Chu Kuangren, I really didn't expect you to gather so many forces. You've truly shocked me. If I could do it all over again, even if the purple star immortal seed dies, I wouldn't go looking for trouble with you. Instead, I would recruit you. Palace Lord Ziwei sighed. However, Chu Kuangren ignored him. Unfortunately, it's all too late. It's useless to say anything. He gathered his spiritual power weapons and aimed them at Palace Lord Ziwei. Is that so? A cold voice was heard. Immediately after, a dazzling star shield appeared in front of Hall Master Ziwei, blocking the thousands of spirit chi weapons. Oh, this aura is also the power of a hollow immortal? Chu Kuangren was a little surprised. A black figure dashed out from the purple star. It was a man in black armor, and his aura was extremely powerful, far beyond the realm of a normal heavenly lord. He was also a hollow immortal. What? There's a second hollow immortal hiding in the purple star. How's that possible? The mystic moon Taoist master and the others were shocked. Hollow immortals were very rare. Although they could not become immortals, most of them could understand the origin energy and combine it with the Emperor's essence. That was why they could unleash combat strength that far exceeded that of a normal heavenly lord. There were not many hollow immortals in the entire purple gold galaxy. All along there had only been one hollow immortal in the purple star galaxy. Now there was another one. Do you think that's all? Palace Lord Ziwei sneered. The purple star galaxy shook violently. A furious roar came from the purple star galaxy and echoed throughout the universe. A majestic lion with golden fur leaped into the sky, and its golden eyes swept across the crowd. The hollow immortal's power that was completely different from the hollow immortal Qin Tian and the others shocked everyone. That was also a hollow immortal. A hollow immortal beast cultivator. How dare you offend the purple star galaxy? Your sins are unforgivable. The golden lion said coldly. The mystic moon Taoist master Yang Shao and the others gulped in shock. There were 3 hollow immortals in the purple star galaxy. D***, we've underestimated the purple star galaxy. To be able to stand at the top of the galaxy for so long, their hidden strength is too terrifying. They have 3 hollow immortals. I'm afraid we're in trouble now. Chapter 9:12. Haha Chu Kuangren, I've said it before. It doesn't matter if it's you or the Chaos Star Ocean or the Mystic Moon Taoist Master, none of you will escape death today. Hall Master Ziwei guffawed. Following that, an extremely tyrannical aura suddenly erupted from his body. When everyone sensed this aura, their expressions changed slightly. This aura was like heavenly might. That's Violet Star Heavenly Tao. Hall Master Ziwei is the Lord of Purple Star. He is now using the power of the Heavenly Tao. His combat prowess is probably no weaker than a hollow immortal. 2 void immortals and Hall Master Ziwei in her Tao integration state. This was the true heritage of Purple Star. In the face of this power, even void immortal Qin Tian, who was fighting against old Monster Ku in the distance, could not help but feel serious. Far away, a man in a golden robe looked at the purple star battlefield in the distance and shook his head slightly. The Purple Star and my Venus are the two rulers of the Purple Gold Galaxy. Their heritage is beyond your imagination. There was also more than one void immortal on Venus. As the master of Venus, the man had some understanding of the Purple Star, one of the two great immortal law civilizations in the Purple Gold Galaxy. Hence, from the very beginning he did not think highly of Chu Kuangren and the others. He thought that they were just digging their own graves. "Palace Master, why don't we help?" A young man next to the man said. "Help? Why are you helping him?" The golden-robed man smirked. "Let them fight. Although it'll be extremely difficult for Chu Kuangren and the others to destroy the Purple Star sect, it'll still be enough to make the Purple Star sect suffer. Isn't it better for us to sit back and reap the benefits?" The young man nodded slightly. "Besides, if Chu Kuangren dies in this battle, then you'll be the Purple Gold Galaxy's #1 immortal seed," the golden-robed man added. Upon hearing that, the young man was a little surprised. He then looked at Chu Kuangren from afar with an inexplicable glint in his eyes. His eyes were filled with jealousy, shock, and admiration. "It's fine if I don't get the title of #1 immortal seed just like that." Purple Star Battlefield. The two Void Immortals and Hall Master Ziwei in her Dao unification state brought great encouragement to the Purple Star cultivators, greatly boosting their morale. Kill all these bandits. Humph, trivial bandits dare come to my Purple Star and court death. Instead of staying in the chaotic Star Sea, you actually dare to covet my Purple Star. You really don't know the difference between life and death. Die for me." The Purple Star cultivators fought back. The bandits of the chaotic Astral Sea were immediately suppressed. "At Chu Kuangren, your people won't last much longer." Hall Master Ziwei sneered. "My men?" Chu Kuangren chuckled. "It's just a bunch of bandits. No matter how many you kill, it doesn't matter to me. As long as I want to, I can find a second or even a third disordered astral ocean. But you guys are different. Those who died were all Purple Star cultivators, and it was Purple Star's warship that was destroyed. Do you feel any heartache?" His words were like a sharp blade that stabbed into the hearts of Hall Master Ziwei and the others, causing their faces to turn ashen. Chu Kuangren was right. No matter how many bandits he killed, it didn't matter to him. It was originally a tool for him to use for revenge. However, it was different for the Purple Star cultivators. Those who died were all Purple Star cultivators, and the loss of Purple Star's warship was real. "Chu Kuangren, you're playing with so many lives just to take revenge on my Purple Star. You're too shameless." Hall Master Ziwei said in a low voice. "You should have known this day would come when you sent people to attack my firmament star." Chu Kuangren yelled. "Once I kill you, I'll send more people to destroy firmament star." Hall Master Ziwei said coldly. "What's the point of saying so much?" The black-armored Purple Star Virtual Immortal said coldly. He raised the spear in his hand and stabbed it towards Chu Kuangren. Boundless spear force erupted in an instant. It was vast and mighty like a flood, its might shattering the entire void. The Virtual Immortal's strength was unparalleled. Chu Kuangren dared not let his guard down. He channeled his Emperor's Qi and mind power at the same time, activating his invincible technique, and the Cosmos Reversal technique erupted. Boom. Along with the violent collision, Chu Kuangren was pushed back a few dozen feet. However, with his strong physical body, that attack did not cause any damage to him. Seeing that, the spear-wielding Virtual Immortal was a little shocked. A great Taoist master can withstand an attack from a Virtual Immortal? Where did this monster come from? We can't let this kid live. Beside him, the Golden Lion Virtual Immortal could not help but be shocked as well. With a murderous intent in his eyes, he let out a roar, and the sound waves that seemed to materialize spread out. The sound waves shattered the void and surged towards Chu Kuangren. Some cultivators along the way were blasted into a mist of blood by the sound waves. "Umph." Chu Kuangren snorted and stood proudly. The sound waves did not affect his physical body at all. "Good one, kid." The Golden Lion Virtual Immortal transformed into a muscular man. He looked at Chu Kuangren with a glint in his eyes, and his demonic Qi and origin energy circulated around his body, combining to form a powerful Virtual Immortal's strength. "Try taking another attack from me." Golden Lion's raging flame fist. He unleashed a punch, and the golden flames turned into the shadow of a lion that charged out. Chu Kuangren did not retreat, and instead, he unleashed a punch of his own. With a loud explosion, the surrounding area exploded. Just when Chu Kuangren was sent flying again, Palace Lord Ziwei seized the opportunity to activate her immortal technique and unleashed a powerful attack. A dazzling galaxy swept across the void and landed on Chu Kuangren. Amidst the explosion, Chu Kuangren was sent flying and crashed into a battleship. That battleship suddenly exploded and sparks flew everywhere. This is bad. Brother Chu is no match for the three of them. One virtual immortal is already difficult enough to deal with, let alone three virtual immortals. No matter how strong Brother Chu is, he won't be able to withstand it. If this goes on, he'll definitely die. The Sacred Moon Taoist Master and the others were anxious. However, they were occupied by their respective opponents and could not provide support. No. Even if they could, how could they fight against the virtual immortals? We've underestimated the combat strength of the Purple Star Civilization. It's not that easy to destroy the Purple Star Civilization. Let's retreat. That's what I was thinking. Some of them were already thinking of retreating. However, the Purple Star cultivators would not let them leave so easily. Beams of light erupted around the battlefield, forming a giant light barrier that covered a radius of 10 million kilometers, enveloping everyone within it. What's this? Oh no, it's the Purple Star Trapping Formation. They've set up a trapping formation. Now it's going to be a problem for us to escape. What should we do now? The Sacred Moon Taoist Master and the others looked extremely solemn. Boom. At that moment, a powerful burst of energy erupted from afar. Chu Kuangren slowly walked out from the destroyed battleship. His snow-white robe was unscathed. Upon seeing that, Palace Master Ziwei, the spear-wielding virtual immortal, and the Golden Lion illusionary immortal narrowed their eyes in disbelief. What's this person's physical body made of? Humph, his strength is no match for ours. So what if his physical body is strong? Dripping water can wear through a rock. I don't believe we can't destroy him. Palace Master Ziwei said viciously. Oh, his strength is no match for yours? Where did you get the confidence to say that? Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then an origin energy gushed out from his body. Lunar Radiance Origin. Origin energy? He's gained enlightenment on the origin? The spear-wielding virtual immortal was shocked. One origin energy won't change anything. One origin energy. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Then, the flame origin energy, the devour origin energy, the immortal origin energy, the frost origin energy, the physical origin energy. 6 origin energy surged out and circled around Chu Kuangren's body. Its power shook the heavens, and the heavenly radiance of the origin energy shone on him, making him look like a supreme immortal king. Chapter 9:13. Silence. The entire Purple Star battlefield was dead silent. Everyone was dumbfounded as they looked at Chu Kuangren, who was surrounded by 6 origin energies and was glowing like a supreme immortal king. Origin energies? 6 different elemental origin energies at that. What was going on with this person? How did he come to understand such power? Everyone was baffled. This was especially true for the Hollow Immortals. When they looked at Chu Kuangren, their hearts were no longer filled with shock. They were completely dumbfounded. They knew how difficult it was to understand the origin energies. Even a Hollow Immortal had to put in a lot of effort just to understand one of them. How old was Chu Kuangren? He had 6 different elemental origin energies. What kind of Tao did he walk? Did you guys just say that my power is weaker than yours? What about now? Chu Kuangren had 2 Dharma testimony seals above his head and 6 origin energies surrounding him. His power was so strong that it shook the entire starry sky. He raised the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand and slashed. Amidst the explosion, a terrifying purple sword ray exploded. It shattered the starry sky and slashed towards the spear-wielding Hollow Immortal. Block it. The spear-wielding Hollow Immortal roared and waved his spear. His spear chi swirled like a tornado, condensing the surrounding starlight before it exploded. When the 2 energies collided, the spear-wielding Hollow Immortal's expression changed drastically. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. How powerful! The spear-wielding Hollow Immortal's expression was extremely solemn. Purple Star Divine Gaze. Star Flame Lion. The Golden Lion Hollow Immortal and Palace Lord Ziwei activated their Taoist patterns at the same time. One of them had purple light circulating in his eyes before a beam of light shot out. The other let out a long roar and golden flames shot into the sky. Combined with the starlight, it turned into the silhouette of a mighty and domineering giant lion. The 2 energies collided towards Chu Kuangren from both sides. Chu Kuangren's eyes turned cold when he saw that. With a lift of his arm, a majestic emperor's chi merged with the 6 origin energies. Invincible technique, universal domination. With a punch, the invincible technique shattered the purple beam of light and the star flame lion. Palace Lord Ziwei and the golden lion hollow immortal were forced back. Again. The three of them wanted to fight again. However, Chu Kuangren's aura was still growing stronger. Vaguely there was a wave of heavenly might. That was the power of the heavenly Tao. Do you think this is my limit? Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Tao integration stage activate. Chu Kuangren's combat strength had increased tremendously in his Taoist unification state. His mighty aura swept across the entire Purple Star battlefield. Everyone was so shocked that they were speechless. That power was too terrifying. How can his heavenly energy be so powerful? Hall Master Ziwei swallowed her saliva and said in disbelief. He was also a starry lord who possessed the Purple Star heavenly Tao. However, why did he feel that his heavenly Tao energy was not as good as Chu Kuangren's? Was the firmament star's heavenly axiom this powerful? After Master devoured the Sirius star's heavenly Tao, his heavenly Tao power became even more terrifying, the Black Blood Hall Master said in shock. He knew of the art of seizing the heavens. However, most of the art of seizing the heavens required a long period of preparation, and sometimes even required the power of civilization to carry it out. It was his first time encountering someone like Chu Kuangren, who used a starry lord as a medium to devour the heavenly Tao. Is this the true power of the poetic sword sage? His aura is too terrifying. From afar, the golden-robed man who was secretly watching the battle could not help but be shocked. The poetic sword sage is truly a monster. Beside him, the young man could not help but be horrified. He looked at Chu Kuangren and could not help but feel a huge, unprecedented sense of defeat. Was this guy an immortal seed like him? What a joke. How could there be such a terrifying immortal seed? With the 6 Taos of origin energy and heavenly energy, Chu Kuangren was unbelievably powerful. His every move could shake the entire universe. He looked calmly at the 3 starry lords. The Purple Star Galaxy has stood tall in the Purple Gold Galaxy for many years. Do you think I don't know that? Do you think I would come here without any support? Do you think that the disordered galaxy is my only support? You're wrong. I've already said that the disordered galaxy is just my tool. My only support has always been myself. He took a step forward and appeared in front of the 3 starry lords in the blink of an eye. With a lift of his arm, an infinite amount of power instantly erupted. He threw out a punch. The spear-wielding illusory immortal roared and blocked the attack with his spear. The punch landed on the spear and forcefully bent the spear. Boom. The spear-wielding illusory immortal was sent flying by the punch. His arms trembled violently, and the web between his thumb and forefinger was torn, causing blood to spurt out. Brr. Not far away, the golden lion illusory immortal reverted to his true form. He opened his arms and bit at Chu Kuangren. Little kitty, don't yell like a ghost here. Scram. Chu Kuangren raised his arm and activated his invincible technique. The terrifying energy blasted onto the golden lion illusory immortal and sent him flying. Then his gaze landed on Palace Lord Ziwei. Under his gaze, Palace Lord Ziwei could not help but tremble as an uncontrollable fear rose within her. How could there be such a terrifying person in this world? Chu Kuangren activated his immortal technique. Frosty Chi, flames, and Emperor's Chi turned into a purplish-red light wave that struck Palace Lord Ziwei, severely injuring her in the blink of an eye. Heaven-devouring divine Taoist art. In the next instant, Chu Kuangren appeared in front of Palace Lord Ziwei and reached out to grab her. With a single thought, he activated the heaven-devouring technique. In an instant, the heavenly Tao energy within her body gushed out like a torrent towards Chu Kuangren. At that moment, the entire Purple Star realm trembled. All the Purple Star cultivators who were fighting also seemed to feel something, and an inexplicable sense of panic welled up in their hearts. He's devouring the heavenly Tao. He's devouring the heavenly Tao. The spear-wielding illusory immortal was terrified. Not far away, Old Man Ku wanted to go back and stop Chu Kuangren, but he was held back by the Dust Sky illusionary immortal. Chu Kuangren, stop. The spear-wielding illusory immortal roared and hurled his spear at Chu Kuangren. It turned into a stream of light and shot towards Chu Kuangren. Humph. Chu Kuangren snorted. He channeled his thoughts and Emperor's Chi to form an invisible whirlpool around him, blocking the attack. How can this be? How can he devour the heavenly Tao? What kind of technique is this? All the Purple Star realm cultivators shuddered. At that moment, amidst the turbulent winds and clouds, a gigantic blood-colored eye suddenly appeared in the sky. It was the Eye of Heavenly Punishment. The purple star Heavenly Tao had retaliated. When the Eye of Heavenly Punishment appeared, bolts of thick blood-colored lightning struck towards Chu Kuangren. It was even stronger than the serious Heavenly Tao. Each bolt of lightning contained enough power to kill a Heavenly Tao master. However, Chu Kuangren was no longer the same Chu Kuangren who was on the Sirius star. With a single thought, a purplish-red light wave spread out with him as the center, blocking off the bolts of blood-colored lightning. Be obedient and let yourself be devoured. Chu Kuangren raised his descendant self-sword, and the Emperor Avatar appeared behind him. A golden sword shadow that was infused with the 6 origin energies slashed out with the help of the technique attestation seal and the Heavenly Tao energy. Accompanied by a loud bang, the blood-colored Eye of Heavenly Punishment was shattered by that sword attack. In a trance, everyone seemed to hear a heart-wrenching, soul-piercing scream. That was the Heavenly Tao scream. Chapter 9:14. On the Purple Star Battlefield. Chu Kuangren single-handedly defeated 3 false immortals in a short period of time. At the same time he began to devour the Purple Star Heavenly Tao. The Eye of Heavenly Punishment appeared, but it was destroyed by his sword. His actions made one's scalp go numb. The strength of the opponent's battle prowess had completely exceeded their imagination. "It's over," a Purple Star cultivator couldn't help whispering. "Fight it out with them." A Purple Star cultivator said angrily. They could not retreat. Behind them was the entire Purple Star, just like how the Firmament Star had stopped the Blood Origin Star from invading in the past. Now, Purple Star had to stop the bandits of the chaotic astral ocean. The battle continued. But the result was more or less decided. As the Purple Star Heavenly Tao continued to be devoured, the Firmament Star Heavenly Tao continued to grow stronger. The Heavenly Tao within Chu Kuangren's body was also getting stronger. Bastard. Our Purple Star civilization has dominated the Purple Gold Galaxy for 71 eras, but we have never encountered such a calamity. Chu Kuangren, even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. The spear-wielding Void Immortal's expression was filled with grief and indignation. Purple flames ignited on his body. He was actually burning his life force to forcibly increase his strength. The spear-wielding illusory immortal let out a loud roar. Then, his figure turned into a stream of light, and it was as if he and his spear had become one as he shot towards Chu Kuangren. This strike was a strike that a false immortal could use with his life on the line. In this Purple Gold Galaxy, no one would be able to stop him. Burning his life force? Very good. Chu Kuangren took out the purple fairy bow and pulled the bowstring. At the same time, the energy on his body began to rise rapidly. A blood-red arrow condensed on the bowstring. Li family's forbidden technique, Blood Essence Condensing Arrow. Chu Kuangren had seen Li Xuan use this technique before, and she was able to kill a great Taoist master by leaps and bounds despite being an entire realm higher than her. Therefore, other than the 4-symbol shooting sun arrow, he also wanted to learn the Li clan's forbidden technique. I can't believe Chu Kuangren is also depleting his life energy. This guy, does he want to die? Lunatics, 2 lunatics. Everyone was shocked as they stared at Chu Kuangren. A powerful wave of immortal technique erupted from Chu Kuangren's body as he swiftly drew his bow and shot out 4 arrows. Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise. The 4 divine beasts' arrows pierced through the air and landed on the spear-wielding illusory immortal's body. Each arrow was condensed from Chu Kuangren's life energy, and its power was so powerful that even an illusory immortal would find it hard to defend against it. Boom. Accompanied by a burst of blood mist. The Void Immortal wielding the spear had fallen. The spear was also swept away and stabbed into an uninhabited star. It was covered with cracks and looked like it would shatter at any moment. Chu Kuangren put away the purple fairy bow. After using his life force to shoot the 4-symbol sun-shooting arrow, his life force was almost exhausted. His black hair had turned white. Seeing this, everyone could not help but feel pity. Too stupid. He actually used this kind of method that consumes his life force and destroys his own future just for a moment of impulse. He should have a bright future ahead of him. But now, forget about becoming an immortal, he probably won't be able to live for more than a few years. What a pity. Fellow Taoist Chu, some felt that it was a pity while others scoffed. There were also people who were heartbroken. But in the next instant, something that astonished everyone happened. In the blink of an eye, Chu Kuangren's white hair had returned to its original black color, and his originally dispirited life force had once again become vigorous. The condensed blood arrow might be a self-destructive move to others, but unfortunately, it's no different from an ordinary move to me. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Self-destructing his own life force? Impossible. He had the immortal body. As long as his life force was not completely depleted in an instant, he would automatically recover in the next instant. Everyone looked at Chu Kuangren with their mouths agape. He can recover so quickly even after destroying his own life force? What the hell? What kind of technique is this? How many more techniques does this guy have? That was the question that popped up in everyone's mind. Chu Kuangren's successive trump cards had already confused them. Chu Kuangren's abilities were like a bottomless pit with no end in sight. Alright, you're useless now anyway. Chu Kuangren looked at Hall Master Ziwei, whose heavenly energy had been sucked dry, and sneered. He then raised his sword and ended her life. In a flash, he appeared in front of the illusory golden lion. Spare. Before the illusory golden lion could finish his sentence, Chu Kuangren's sword had already landed on him, and the sword chi had already torn him apart. Illusory golden lion, there's only one left. Chu Kuangren looked at Curmudgeon Ku, who was fighting against the illusory golden lion. The latter trembled in fear when Chu Kuangren looked at him. He had already lost his will to fight, and all he wanted to do was to escape. However, how could the illusory golden lion let him do as he pleased? Trying to escape? How naive. The illusory golden lion laughed. Golden chains then emerged from his body and intertwined with each other, forming a huge enchanted boundary. Curmudgeon Ku was sealed in the enchanted boundary and could not escape. After a fierce battle, the illusory golden lion finally gained the upper hand and killed Curmudgeon Ku within the enchanted boundary. Haha, the illusory golden lion is dead. The Purple Star Civilization is finished. Rob the Purple Star Civilization clean. Master Chu, well done. Countless bandits laughed and charged towards the Purple Star cultivators. After the deaths of Hall Master Ziwei and the others, not only did the Purple Star cultivators not retreat, but they also had a strong will to live. They even risked their lives to protect the Purple Star Civilization. Chu Kuangren was not surprised to see that. He was even more unfazed by the deaths of countless bandits. After all, they were just tools for him to take revenge. No matter how the Purple Star Civilization fought back, the outcome was already determined. The battle lasted for almost 10 days. The sounds of battle never stopped for a moment in the outer domain. With the fall of the last Tao Lord of the Purple Star Civilization, the Purple Star Civilization was at its end. The remaining bandits rushed into the Purple Star Civilization to plunder it. It was a disaster for a civilization. And the number of casualties in this disaster was uncountable. 100 million? Billion? 10 billion? Maybe more than that. Even the mystic Moon Tao Lord and Yang Shao could not help but be moved when they saw the disaster that befell the Purple Star Civilization. However, Chu Kuangren remained calm as if he did not care at all. That made everyone speechless. How indestructible must this person's Taoist core be to be able to remain unmoved after witnessing such a disaster? That made them even more fearful of Chu Kuangren. Talent, strength, Taoist core, all of them were impeccable. If such a person did not stand at the peak, it would be unconscionable. What a disaster for a civilization. At that moment, an emotional voice was heard. Not far away, a golden-robed man and a young man were walking in the air. They looked at the Purple Star Civilization with an emotional gaze. Chu Kuangren glanced at them and recognized who they were. He said indifferently, "Golden Star King, what are you doing here?" His gaze swept behind the Golden Star King. From afar, he saw hundreds of thousands of battleships and could not help but chuckle. "So you're here to reap the benefits." The Golden Star King laughed awkwardly when he heard that. Initially, he did have that idea, but after witnessing Chu Kuangren's strength, he no longer dared to think that way. Chapter 9:15. I see, so you're here to reap the benefits. Chu Kuangren chuckled. The Golden Star Lord laughed awkwardly and said, "Brother Chu, you've misunderstood. I'm just here to see if there's anything I can help with." Everyone rolled their eyes. What a shameless thing to say. Just to see if there's anything I can help with? I didn't see you guys when the battle was in full swing. Now that it's over, you guys only come out now. Isn't that just trying to reap the benefits from the battle? If not for Chu Kuangren's strength, the Golden Star Lord's warships would have already locked onto them. Golden Star Lord, you sure are shameless. Chu Kuangren said calmly. The Golden Star Lord did not say anything as he looked at the Purple Star Lord. Billions of living beings have perished because of a single thought from you. From now on, the Purple Star civilization will become history. Brother Chu, your methods are truly extraordinary. What, are you going to criticize me? In this universe there are civilizations dying at every moment. It's just that most of them are nameless. However, the Purple Star civilization is no different from them, so why would I criticize you? Cut the crap and get straight to the point, Chu Kuangren said. I'm here to make a deal with you, Brother Chu. I want all the immortal techniques of the Purple Star civilization. The Golden Star Lord said. That was the purpose of his trip. What do you have in exchange? The equivalent of the immortal techniques is the immortal techniques. How about I trade the Golden Star immortal techniques for the Purple Star immortal techniques? Sure. Chu Kuangren nodded and did not refuse. Soon after, Chu Kuangren and the others landed in a palace in the Purple Star civilization. This was the Temple of Crepe Myrtle, the center of power in the Purple Star civilization. Chu Kuangren had found the Purple Star immortal techniques and completed the deal with the Golden Star Lord here. Other than that, he also found a treasure vault. The treasury contained the Purple Star civilization's accumulated spirit essence, precious medicines and purple gold source treasures. Could be said that there were countless of them. The moment the treasure vault was opened, a large amount of treasure light filled the air, stunning the divine moon Taoist master Yang Xiao and the others. Holy F***CK. As expected of the immortal art civilization. Their resources are truly extraordinary. Look, all of those top-notch Tao tier treasured medicines. One after another. They're more than I've ever seen in my entire life. There is also the spiritual marrow. TSK, it fills a whole box of universe rings. How much is that? 100 billion? 1 trillion? I'm rich. Looking at the treasure vault before them, everyone couldn't help but gasp in astonishment. Upon seeing that, Chu Kuangren said calmly, Everyone, you may all take as many treasures as you like from the treasury. Everyone's eyes lit up when they heard that. Then we won't stand on ceremony. Brother Chu is really generous. The Divine Moon Tao Lord and the others had taken some things from the treasury, but they were extremely careful and did not take too much. After all, they knew that it was all thanks to Chu Kuangren that they were able to defeat Purple Star this time. Without him they would have been defeated a long time ago. Chu Kuangren suddenly looked at a jade bottle in the treasury. Inside the bottle was a golden elixir. The surface of the bottle was intertwined with Tao patterns, as if sealing the elixir's medicinal properties. Shall AI analyze it? Analyzing, under the omniscient spirit's analysis, Chu Kuangren quickly figured out the function of the elixir in his hand. It was actually an immortal elixir. To be precise, it was an incomplete immortal elixir. However, too much of the elixir's medicinal properties had been lost, and the elixir's effects were less than 1/10 of the original immortal elixir. Even so, this incomplete immortal elixir was still the biggest treasure in this treasury, and it was very useful to Chu Kuangren. With this elixir, my cultivation base can break through to the heavenly Tao Lord realm. Chu Kuangren held the jade bottle and smiled. Then he put the items in the treasury one by one into his yin and yang ring. After that, he went to the Purple Star Library. The library was a place where the Purple Star civilization's knowledge was stored. This place was more attractive to him than the treasury. In the following period of time, he listed the Temple of Crepe Myrtle as a forbidden area, and no bandits were allowed to come close to disturb him. He stayed in the library for more than 10 days. The Divine Moon Tao Lord and the others had already left the Purple Star Library. After more than 10 days, Chu Kuangren put down the last book in the library with a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. The Purple Star civilization's knowledge is very helpful to me. Whether it's runic alchemy, equipment refinement, formation or so on, they are all very inspiring. Not only for me but also for the Firmament Star civilization. I have to pack these books up and send them back to Firmament Star for them to study. Chu Kuangren murmured. Then he took out several jade scrolls, which recorded the immortal techniques of Purple Star and Venus. To be honest, with his current attack methods, unless it was some immortal techniques with special effects, ordinary immortal techniques would not be of much use to him. However, he was still keen to find immortal techniques. Immortal techniques were created by immortals. Immortal techniques often condensed the immortal's cultivation experience and understanding of the Tao, which were useful for him to comprehend by analogy. Not to mention he also wanted to use immortal techniques to combine the various Taoist physiques he had to comprehend the origin energy. Soon he began to comprehend immortal techniques. First was the Purple Star immortal technique, Galaxy Apocalypse. Among the 3,000 Taoist physiques in Firmament Star, there was a top-notch Taoist physique called the Star Taoist Physique, which was very compatible with the galaxy apocalypse. When Chu Kuangren was in Firmament Star, he had searched for Taoist physiques all over the world to expand the physique book, and this Star Taoist physique was naturally included. Through the immortal technique Galaxy Apocalypse, and the Star Taoist physique, Chu Kuangren's consciousness came to the origin world and once again comprehended an origin. The Star Origin Energy. Next was the Golden Star Immortal Technique. The Golden Star Immortal Technique tended to be fierce and domineering, and Chu Kuangren's purple-blooded overlord physique was somewhat compatible with it. After half a month of research, Chu Kuangren was unable to comprehend a new origin energy. It seems that it's still a little lacking. The Golden Star Immortal Technique and the purple-blooded overlord physique are not compatible enough, Chu Kuangren murmured. Of course, he could not rely on the Taoist physique and just rely on the immortal technique to comprehend the origin energy, but that would take a lot more time. Let's put it aside for now. Chu Kuangren no longer cared about it. This time it was already a good harvest for him to comprehend the star origin energy. Now he had 7 origin energies in his hands. After comprehending so many origins, I still can't create an origin that belongs to me. I wonder when I'll be able to do so. Chu Kuangren murmured. Creating an origin of Taoism that belonged to him was his ultimate goal in comprehending various origins, and it was also the key to becoming an immortal. Chu Kuangren shook his head, knowing that this matter could not be rushed. He had already crossed the demon barrier, and this matter could no longer affect his Taoist core. Next, it's time to break through to the Heavenly Tao Master. After he had more or less comprehended the immortal techniques, Chu Kuangren took out the remnant immortal pill and crushed the jade bottle. Suddenly, a majestic medicinal effect swept out like a tsunami. Chu Kuangren could not help but be amazed, and then he swallowed it in one gulp. The majestic medicinal effect crazily attacked him. Even a Heavenly Tao Master would explode and die on the spot if they consumed it. However, Chu Kuangren's physical body was strong enough to withstand it. Then he activated the Universal Cauldron Physique and began to refine the immortal pill's medicinal effect. Chapter 9:16. 3 months later. Inside the Ziwei Temple. An extremely powerful aura suddenly erupted and swept across the entire purple star. Every living being on the purple star planet could feel this aura. What a terrifying aura. Is this the Heavenly Tao Master? This is too terrifying. I've never felt such a terrifying aura from a Heavenly Tao Master. Even a false immortal would not be this terrifying. Countless cultivators were shocked. They looked towards the direction of the Ziwei Temple. There was no longer anyone from the Ziwei Temple there. There was only one person there. A terrifying existence that destroyed the entire Purple Star civilization. Purple Star Temple. Chu Kuangren suddenly opened his eyes. There was a glimmer in his eyes as he sensed the majestic Emperor's chi in his body. A satisfied smile appeared on his face. An immortal pill is indeed an immortal pill. Even an incomplete immortal pill is extraordinary. It allowed me to skip the peak of the Great Taoist Master level and enter the Heavenly Tao Master level. Very powerful. Chu Kuangren smiled. After all, he had a strong foundation. Breaking through a small realm required a huge amount of resources, which far exceeded the resources needed by others in the same realm. If it were not for his opportunities of fortune, treasures, and the treasures he obtained from the fantasy roulette, it would have been difficult for him to break through to the Taoist Master level in less than 60 years no matter how talented he was. Not to mention the Heavenly Tao Master level. Next, it's time to send the books in the library to Firmament Star, Chu Kuangren said. With his current cultivation level and the puppet clone on Firmament Star as a medium, it was enough for him to use the spatial conveyor technique to transfer all the books to Firmament Star. He would do it if he wanted to. With a thought, the spatial conveyor technique's fluctuations completely enveloped the entire huge library in front of him. Far away on Firmament Star. The puppet clone suddenly opened its eyes. Taoist patterns flowed on its body and transformed into Chu Kuangren's appearance. Many people sensed the puppet's movements. The Chaos Taoist Master and the others rushed over and looked at the puppet with a solemn expression. Could it be that another enemy had come to attack? Don't worry everyone. I'm just here to give you something, Chu Kuangren said. Then he came to an empty space. With a thought, a huge library appeared out of thin air and landed on the ground, causing the entire imperial palace to tremble. What is this? The Chaos Tao Master and the others were surprised. The intellectual wealth of the Purple Star civilization. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Hearing this, the sect master of 10,000 laws drew a sharp intake of breath and exclaimed in shock, "The wealth of wisdom of the Purple Star civilization? How is that possible?" The Purple Star was one of the two immortal technique civilizations in the Purple Gold Galaxy. How did their wealth and wisdom appear on the firmament star? What had the king done in the Purple Gold Galaxy? The knowledge contained within this will be of great help to the development of our empire. You guys should get someone to study it properly. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Then he retracted his thoughts and reverted back to his battle puppet form. The power of his will was limited. In order to preserve its power, it would not appear unless it was needed. Hundreds of light years away from Firmament Star, Purple Star, Heavenly Wind Bandit King and the others arrived at Ziwei Divine Palace. In the main hall, Chu Kuangren sat on the main seat with wisps of Emperor's Qi circulating around his body. His domineering aura was so terrifying that even the heavens and earth trembled. Now he'd successfully broken through into the Heavenly Tao Lord realm. His combat strength had become even more unfathomable. "Greetings, young master." Tianfeng Bandit King and the others bowed respectfully. "How's your harvest?" Chu Kuangren nodded slightly and asked casually. "Not bad." Their eyes flashed with a complicated look. Did they gain a lot? Very much. However, the biggest gain was the many treasures, books and techniques that were hidden in the Palace of Crepe Myrtle. All of them had been taken by Chu Kuangren. As for the others, they were not bad either. However, the battle with the Purple Star had also cost them a lot. Although overall the gains outweighed the losses, it still felt unsatisfactory. However, they could not tell Chu Kuangren about that. What could they do even if they did? Would Chu Kuangren show them any mercy? They were just tools to Chu Kuangren, and they had long accepted that fact. "If that's the case, I'll give you guys 3 days to evacuate the Purple Star as soon as possible," Chu Kuangren said. "What? So soon?" "Master, we still have a lot of resources to mine on the Purple Star. Wouldn't it be too hasty to leave now?" Tianfeng Bandit King and the others said. Chu Kuangren said, "I'm going to devour the Purple Star. If you guys want to become nutrients for my indestructible physique, then stay." Tianfeng Bandit King and the others shuddered. They remembered the scene of Chu Kuangren devouring a planet. If they stayed, they would not be able to escape death. "We understand." Tianfeng Bandit King nodded. 3 days later, the Bandit Kings and their forces left one after another. Chu Kuangren also began to devour the Purple Star. On that day, the entire Purple Star was shaken. Countless Purple Star living beings trembled in fear and fled to the outer domain. Chu Kuangren's devouring of the Purple Star was sensed by the Purple Gold Galaxy's forces, and they were all shocked. That's too cruel. Not only did he destroy the entire Purple Star civilization, but he's also going to devour an entire star. So the poetic sword sage is the star devourer that's been the talk of the town lately. How many more tricks does he have up his sleeves? Terrifying, the Purple Star civilization is truly gone. Countless cultivators, including the Hollow Immortals, were terrified. They secretly swore that they could offend anyone but Chu Kuangren in the future. Otherwise, not only would the people be gone, the civilization would be gone, and even the stars would be gone. This kind of method was too frightening. That Firmament Star is just an ordinary high-level cultivator civilization, yet they've produced such a freak. This is too scary. There aren't many immortal seeds like this in the whole universe, right? I think only those immortal physiques and second-generation immortals can compare. That's right. If nothing goes wrong, this person will definitely achieve great things in the broken immortal world. Multiple emperors' thoughts converged and circulated in the void. In the Purple Gold Galaxy, Chu Kuangren could be said to be the strongest cultivator. No one dared to provoke him and the Firmament Star behind him anymore. After all, the Purple Star civilization's fate was clear for all to see. That was Chu Kuangren's goal. To make an example out of them. Only by using his thunderous methods against the Purple Star civilization could the other civilizations and forces give up on him and the Firmament Star. In space, a huge planet was constantly collapsing. That was the Purple Star civilization. In the end, the Purple Star civilization collapsed and turned into a huge ball of light. Within it, there was a vague silhouette of a person. His heavy breathing echoed in space like a gale-force wind. It was Chu Kuangren. In the end, the Purple Star civilization's energy had completely dissipated. Chu Kuangren opened his eyes and stood up. With every move he made, starlight swirled and shook the void. With a gentle punch, a large piece of the void collapsed in front of him. Very good. I'm one step closer to the completion of the immortal physique. Coupled with the Heavenly Tao Master's cultivation, the 7 origin energies, and the Heavenly Tao's Heavenly Tao that I've devoured, my combat strength is now invincible in the purple gold galaxy. Now, I just have to wait for the broken immortal world to descend. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.